You're watching NCAA Championships presented by Northwestern Mutual. It's the Division III National Semifinal between Linfield and St. Thomas, a pair of undefeated teams playing for a spot in the Stag Bowl. And when they get there on Friday night, they will take on Mount Union, which has already won its semifinal this afternoon, 36-6 over Wisconsin Whitewater. And welcome everybody to St. Paul, Minnesota. Doug Sherman along with Pete Najarian, the former Gopher, and we've got ourselves a good ball game where these two teams, Pete, combined to average over 100 points per game.
It's absolutely amazing. And I mean, they are mirror images of each other. When you look at how they actually get to where they are now when they're both undefeated, you take a look at their offenses, they both are going to put up a lot of points. We're talking about 50-plus points per game from each of these football teams. Look at the yards that you're going to be seeing as well. Expect to see that ball in the air, a lot of touchdowns. Their defenses are both extremely impressive as well, holding their opponents to very few points per game as well. So when you're looking at these teams, they just seem like they're exactly the same team. Something's going to change today.
Something that will change is the quarterback position for Linfield. They've got two very good options. We're not really sure who we're going to see.
Yeah, Tom Connect stepped in the last week and a half or so and has just put up some incredible numbers. Actually has 11 touchdowns on the season. Very, very accurate. But Sam Riddle is the man who's brought them to where they are so far. So if he can go, I would guess that they'd want to go with him. But he's had that ankle injury, and that's certainly going to be a problem.
Well, if size matters, St. Thomas has itself a good one in 6'9", 350-pound senior end David Simmet. When we come back, we'll have the kickoff between the Tommies and the Wildcats. NCAA Division III Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. Back in St. Paul, Minnesota, as we are just about set for kickoff at O'Shaughnessy Stadium. And it is a cool, brisk afternoon, although considering that we're in Minnesota in the middle of December, it's not so bad.
Yeah, we're actually getting a little lucky, 40 degrees. It should have snow on the ground and maybe about 30 degrees right now.
The head coach for Linfield, Joseph Smith, he's a 93 graduate of Linfield College, former All-American defensive back. And he'll be matching wits with Glenn Caruso in his 8th year as head coach at St. Thomas. He played his college football at Division III Ithaca College, a 96 grad of Ithaca. And he does not lose very often in this place.
He does not. This is an incredible program he's been able to develop. Coming in here, before he got here, they were 2-8, but they have really turned things around. It's a winning program. His winning percentage is absolutely incredible since he stepped in to become the head coach at St. Thomas.
Well, Cayman Conley, a junior from Honolulu, Hawaii, about to kick off this national semifinal for Linfield. Ball is teed up, and we are ready for action. Jake Gilliland on the return across the 20. Still on his feet, spins to the 28-yard line. And that is where the Tommies will take over 1st and 10.
Really exciting to just get an opportunity to see this offense start to move because the points they put up, and John Gould, the quarterback, does an absolutely outstanding job directing this football team. You can see he doesn't have a lot of size. His offensive line makes up for that size because they are massive up front. They're 6'4", 310 pounds across, but you can see how accurate he has been, John Gould, so far this season.
And he played his high school football just about 10 minutes from here at St. Thomas Academy. And so he is one of many, many locals on this roster who has stayed home and been part of what is a tremendous program. His #1 receiver is his old high school teammate. Keep your eye on #2 in purple, Nick Waldvogel. On 1st down, pass is intended for Waldvogel, incomplete. Let's take a look at our impact players.
And you can see it right there. That running back, Jordan Roberts, is just absolutely outstanding, almost unstoppable. But they've got a little bit of shake and bake as well that they can move in there. Alex Hoff, the outside defensive end, he will be a pressuring man. You can see those numbers, 15 sacks on the year. This is a team that had 55 sacks coming into today, so they get after the quarterback.
And last year, Hoff led all of net.
Substitution infraction, breaking the huddle with 12 players on the offense, 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
First time we've heard from the referee, Scott Johnson, here this afternoon. An inauspicious beginning. But Jordan Roberts a junior from Sheridan, Wyoming. As you mentioned, Pete, putting up unbelievable numbers. There's a good look at John Gould, the quarterback, who is 17-1 since taking over this program as its starting quarterback.
Right, he just fits right into the mold of everything that Glenn Caruso's been able to do here at St. Thomas. And John Gould, absolutely outstanding career.
After the 5-yard penalty, it's 2nd and 15. Big hole to run through, and it's Jordan Roberts.
Jordan Roberts is a lot different than the rest of the running backs that they've got here at St. Thomas. But look at the hole. Nobody really has an opportunity to make a tackle there, maybe get a hand on him. But Jordan Roberts is going to run through any kind of an arm tackle. 6 foot, 222 pounds. He runs low. He's very agile.
Here he goes again. First down, Roberts, tackled by Jake Reimer.
That big offensive line up front, they do an outstanding job of pass blocking and run blocking. As a matter of fact, coming into today's game, James Killian was talking about, we really want to have some balance. We want to not just be a running team. We don't want to be just throwing the football. We want exactly a mix if we can find it. Right now, they're finding a great job running the ball with Jordan Roberts.
And Pete, you mentioned James Killian. He's the second-year offensive coordinator, former quarterback at Tulsa. And his offense has put up record-setting numbers this year. Here goes Waldvogel. He may go across the 25, inside the 10, pushed out of bounds, and it's 1st and 10 thanks to the tackle by Kennedy Johnson.
And they come around on that little sweep play to the right side, but that big David Simet moving people down the field as well. But take a look at all the purple shirts in front of them. Nobody has touched Nick to that point, and Waldvogel taking the ball down to the house, almost getting to the house, stopped right here just short at about the 7-yard line.
Yeah, 53-yard gain for the junior from Mendota Heights, Minnesota. 1st and goal out of the I formation. Keep it on the ground, Roberts, and he stood up inside the 5-yard line by Skylar Elgarico.
Nice tackle that time by Elgarico, because Jordan Roberts had a full head of steam and there was nothing between he and the goal line except for Elgarico. Nice job of making a great form tackle, stopping him at the 4-yard line.
Now you can see he's got 29 touchdowns this year. That leads everybody in college football, all levels, all divisions. When you're inside the 5, you can pretty much rest assured Roberts is going to get a shot.
Although this is a high-risk-taking offense, so you never know what Caruso's going to call to get that team into the end zone.
2nd and goal from the 5. Again, it's Roberts, and this time he walks into the end zone, and the Tommies are on the board.
Great execution that time again, and like you said, we're going to give the ball to Jordan Roberts. Is exactly what they decided to do. They go behind Will Hilbert, the left tackle, 6'5", 292 pounds, just moving people downfield. You can see the nice job by the tight end as well on the outside. That was Charlie Dowdle. Expect to hear that name a lot today as well.
On for the extra point, Paul Groffner, senior from Minnetonka, Minnesota, out of Benilde St. Margaret's High School. And Charlie Dowdle holds. You always got to keep your eye on him. They average more than one converted two-point play every game, and Dowdle's always in the middle of it.
Yeah, he is. It's amazing, but this offense is just getting going. And I'll tell you what, when you take a look at how they absolutely open up holes, and there's the guy who knows how to find his way down the field. Waldvogel with an outstanding job of following his blockers and just letting those holes open up right in front of him. But here's the touchdown with Jordan Roberts. That's just too easy. The defense is going to have to do something to contain that running game, or there's going to be a real problem today for that Linfield defense.
Yeah, he just followed big number 70, the right guard, Zach Brennan, right into the end zone. A 6-play, 72-yard drive, and St. Thomas, averaging 53.6 points per game, has its first 7 on the board.
Well, they came in today. They felt very loose. Both teams, when you talk to the head coaches, the teams are loose. They're very comfortable. They've been here before. This is nothing new. Both programs are absolutely outstanding, but St. Thomas really came out of the gate and did exactly what they wanted to from an execution standpoint. Put the ball up in the air, but it was mostly done on the ground. Some great running, those big holes from the offensive line.
Groffner to kick off. Spencer Payne, junior from McMinnville, Oregon, where this Linfield College team is from, receives the kick at his own 6-yard line, breaks the first tackle, and does well to get out to the 23-yard line. And let's see which quarterback comes out to start the football game for the Wildcats. Will it be Connect or Riddle? Riddle is the Division III West Region Player of the Year, but he suffered a right ankle injury against Cortland on November 28th, and so it's Connect who makes his third straight start.
Yeah, and Riddle did look like he was a little tentative. That ankle didn't look like it was going to completely support him so far, and I guess that's what the coaches just decided. Let's go with the guy who's standing, and he looks healthy. He played great last week.
And don't think for a second as the ball is loose, and it looks like the Tommies have it. No official signal yet. No. It is second down, so the offense recovered.
Great job of punching that ball out. That was Spencer Payne. He's an outstanding running back. Not huge, 5'8", but 210 pounds, so he's solid. Great job of just putting that paw up in the air and knocking the ball free. Great job of hustling as a look at those linebackers coming after him. Purple shirts everywhere.
Yeah, that was Steve Harrell who knocked it loose, the sophomore from New Berlin, Wisconsin. So second down and 12. Connect. Pressure. And he is brought down back near the original line of scrimmage by the nose tackle, Ryan Winter. Let's take a look at our impact players. We've already talked about Spencer Payne a little bit. Return man, feature running back, junior, as I mentioned, from McMinnville, Oregon. Meanwhile, Jesse Addo is a junior from Plymouth, Minnesota.
And he plays on the other side of the ball. You can see that by those tackles for loss. Leads the team, leads St. Thomas as a team. 16 tackles for a loss. That's a huge number.
Passing on third down. Under pressure. It's incomplete.
He's going to the right guy. He's looking downfield. Easy pass for him right in the center of the field. He looks and sees big Johnny Carroll, 6'3", 200 pounds. Very athletic wide receiver. The ball was there, just wasn't able to hold on to it. That would have been a first down. Now you're kicking 4th and 11. You're going to give St. Thomas the ball back somewhere near midfield.
Yeah, Carroll is one of a number of Division I transfers on this field here today. Carroll played at Oregon State as a freshman, and he is the #1 receiver for the Wildcats here as a sophomore. Kevin McLean, high punt, directional toward the sideline, takes a bounce at the 40 and trickles out of bounds at the 33. We'll take a break. The Tommies already on the board. They'll take over for a second time when we come back. In a battle of unbeatens for a spot in the Stag Bowl, St. Thomas with the early 7-0 lead. And ESPN's NCAA championship coverage continues Friday with the Division II championship on ESPN2 at 4 o'clock. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Well, we told you off the top that Mount Union's already in the Stag Bowl, and will it be Linfield or will it be St. Thomas? And we have had some of the Blue Bloods of Division III football in this semifinal. What do you think of what we've got left here?
Well, you're talking about some of these programs that have been there many, many times, so the experience level is incredible. But St. Thomas, they know that they can't rest on the laurels of the previous drive, and Linfield on defense. That front four is something that the offensive coordinator was very concerned about coming in.
First down for Jordan Roberts, a pickup of 11.
You can see this big offensive line. There's big David Simmons. Look at how big he is as he's going up in front of Marcus McGovern, the defensive end on the outside. It's just that mass. You can't see around it. You don't know if you should go left, you should go right, how you want to play it. It's almost impossible as a defender. You've just got to get underneath the shoulder pads and push him back. But right now it looks like David Simmons really has control.
Roberts again, up the middle. Another big gain on first down. Gang tackle. El Garrico with the hit.
And that time it was Kaiser. You know, they've got a great stable of running backs here at St. Thomas, University of St. Thomas. Jordan Roberts, 6 foot, 222 pounds, brings a little bit more steam when he's bringing it between the tackles. And then they can actually switch it up a little bit with Jack Kaiser as well. So both these two running backs give different elements to this offense, but everybody on the offense seems to participate in everything. It's just amazing how much talent there is here, and Caruso's done an outstanding job of recruiting.
And Kaiser out there once again. Gould to pass. Now he scrambles right. And chased out of bounds at midfield by Keanu Yamamoto.
Gould that time looked like he was looking downfield, looking for his big tight end, Charlie Dowdle. Can't get him. Dowdle's not, he's well covered, he's not open. He looked and looked. It's not there. He comes back to the right side of the field and just looking for anything, and the defense does an outstanding job. Keeping him sideways, not letting him go north and south. Now it's a 3rd and long.
Gould is completing 61% of his passes this year. He has thrown for 25 touchdowns, but has also thrown 10 interceptions. 3rd down and 6 from midfield. He runs it up the middle. Sidesteps one tackler, but he's going to be about a yard short thanks to Kyle Belcher.
And don't be surprised if they go for it here. This is what we're talking about when we talk about risk takers. And Caruso, the head coach, he likes to go after things. It looks like he's considering going for it right now.
And you know, since John Gould became the starting quarterback, the Toms have converted 72% of their 4th down plays, including 16 for 19 in the postseason.
They aren't afraid to go for it. This is a guy who, they're cross midfield. Even if they were on the other side, he might consider it. But because of the fact that I think they're on the Linfield 45-yard line, they just want to go for it.
Roberts, the tailback. Dominic Truicolo, the fullback. And they get the 1st down. That percentage continues to rise.
They'll run both sides, but it seems like they almost prefer to go to this left side behind Will Hilbert. Will Hilbert's been here now for 3 years. He started for 3 years. He's got 34 game starts. So you want to go behind a big fella at 6'5", 292 pounds. Does an outstanding job, and that time it's exactly what Jordan Roberts did.
Well, it is a huge front line. Hilbert, Donovan, Sauer, Brennan, and Simmet to run behind. Roberts already has gained 40 yards on 6 carries. And here he goes again. This time a gain of 3, maybe 4. Well, Roberts on the year averages 130 yards per game, nearly 6 yards per carry. And he's a fascinating story. He's a transfer from the University of South Dakota who surrendered his scholarship to enroll at St. John Vianney Seminary. He's considering a vocation in the priesthood, and actually he recruited Coach Caruso and his staff. It really is something.
It's a pretty amazing story, really, and a lot of things going on in his life that caused him to make some of those changes, but he has been an outstanding addition, and what a great opportunity for him and for the coach to be able to get this quality of a running back here at St. Thomas.
Out of the pistol, Gould fires, complete. His old high school teammate, Walt Vogel, with a 1st down for the Toms.
Walt Vogel's just outstanding. 5'9", 177 pounds, but he's very, very solid. He sounds small. This is a solid young man. He can play running back as well, but comes back across in the middle towards those safeties, does a great job of avoiding the big hit there. That's what you need to do. That's why he's the player that he is and why he's still on the field, because he's not a big fella, but he knows how to do what he does with his body.
As mentioned, Pete, he was a running back in high school, running back his first 2 years, but now that you got this big horse transferring in, you defer, you move to wide receiver and let Jordan Roberts do his thing.
Absolutely, and look at him, just the way he follows Will Hilbert again, the big left tackle, 77. Look at that hole. Roberts hits it exactly like he needs to. Aggressive runner, always looking north-south. He's not looking to break to the outside, but once that opened up, once he got downfield, it opened up in a big way.
Roberts with another hold. Out of bounds at the 10-yard line. It's again close to a 1st down pickup, maybe 1 yard short. So bring up 2nd down and 1.
We've got offensive coordinator James Killian right above us right now, and he's going with what's working. And what's working right now is running on that left side and pounding the football. And right now we're watching Jordan Roberts just put on a show.
Will Hilbert, as you mentioned, 6'5", 292 at left tackle. Richie Donovan, the left guard, 6 foot 302. Stephen Sauer, the senior center, 6'2", 300. Zach Brennan at right guard, 6'4", 287. And then the big man, David Simmons, 6'9", 350. Gould just throws it away, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
Seemed like that time Gould just sort of lost a little bit of his composure, just started sprinting to the outside. Had he stayed in the pocket, The big fella on the outside, you mentioned David Simon on the outside, 6'9", 350. There was nobody coming at him, but everybody was to the outside. That time it was a bit of a misread by John Gould as he was sprinting to the outside, kind of put himself into a position to have to throw the ball away.
On the defensive front for Linfield, keep your eye on number 55 in white, Alex Hoff. The NFL scouts keep their eye on the senior from Lebanon, Oregon. In a passing situation here, they keep it on the ground to Kaiser, and he's got another Tommy's first down.
Yeah, that offensive line, they're just moving the guys up front. The offensive coordinator, Killian, he was talking about this before the game. He says that front four is the best front four we will have played all year. And he was really impressed. He said the big two guys in the middle, they're going to force things and force them to the sides. And then that outside rush is just incredible. Well, right now, the Tommies have got their number, moving up and down the field, running the football.
Here's the 12th play of the drive. Kaiser finds the hole and walks in untouched.
Wow, Doug, that was a little too easy, huh? They're just moving the ball up and down the field, and again, going to the left side and going behind Will Hilbert. When they're moving the ball, it seems like they want to run to that left side. You can see the big tackle, Zach Brennan, coming over as well, number 70, but that offensive line with that size and their athleticism, they're just moving the Linfield defense around and creating huge holes for these running backs.
12 plays, 66 yards. It took 5 minutes and 39 seconds. And the Tommies up 13-0. And make it 14-0 thanks to Grumpner's PAT. Well, for the folks at the watch parties back in the West Coast in McMinnville, at the Buffalo Wild Wings in Beaverton, Oregon, not so much to cheer about just yet. It's all Tommies, 14-0. Tommies 14, Wildcats nothing. Here in St. Paul, Minnesota, let's take a look at today's Northwest Mutual planning for success, as both teams have deep and balanced receiving cores to help put up the offensive numbers that they have.
You can just see just the incredible depth. And when you look at St. Thomas, the interesting thing is just how many double numbers they've got, because they've got so many players on this football team. They go out for practice. They've got that 23 players playing wide receiver. That's amazing just how much depth there is on both sides. But Linfield now likely going to probably have to go what they did last week, which is put the ball in the air. They're going to start having to throw the ball. They've only had the ball one possession, punted it across. St. Thomas 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns. Linfield has to answer quick.
Spencer Payne back deep to receive, and Linfield will put points on the board. They average nearly 500 yards from scrimmage per game, and they balance it out pretty well. 198 on the ground, 298 passing, and they average over 50 points per game. But right now down 14-0. 5.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. They kick it away from Payne to Dylan Lewis, and the junior from Pleasant Hill, Oregon, turns left and steps out of bounds. Make it Kennedy Johnson, excuse me.
Well, and these 2 wide receivers, they both got a lot of height on them. Johnny Carroll stands 6'3", and Brian Balsiger 6'2", both transfers, both outstanding. But Tom Connect is going to have to get the ball in the receiver's hands and start moving the chains, maybe chew up a little bit of that clock, keep the Tommies off the field on offense.
Here's a look at Balsiger, number 5, senior at 6'2", 190. He's a transfer as well from Portland State. Screen pass Spencer Payne, and the running back puts his head down and gets what he can out to about the 27-yard line, brought down by Isaac Searing.
Not a bad play. Give your quarterback a little bit of confidence. Get a completion. Very easy. Just a little pitch pass to the outside that time to Spencer Payne. Did a great job moving around and getting himself 3-4 yards.
And don't think for a second that Tom Connect, while he is a backup, is unable to move the chains. At his near first down yardage to Zach Cousins. Connect at 6'5". He's a senior from Lake Oswego, Oregon, and he did start the national quarterfinal last week against Mary Hardin Baylor, and all he did was complete 38 of 45 passes for 492 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Just an unbelievable performance. Just how much confidence. Mary Hardin Baylor's an outstanding football team. They were up 21-0. And then suddenly Linfield just started to make this comeback, and it really was on the arm of Tom Connect doing an outstanding job.
When Sam Riddle went down with that ankle injury, Connect stepped in against Cortland. ran for a touchdown, threw for a couple, and it's just kept rolling for the 12-0 Wildcats of Linfield College. He puts the ball on the ground, and the Tommies recover.
That's the one thing when you don't have that experience throughout the season, you have to have that inner clock inside of your head. And Tom Knecht is standing back there, and he's got to be counting 1, 2, 3, and get rid of that football. The Tommies are going to come after him. They certainly did that time. And the defensive coordinator, you can see there are all kinds of purple shirts coming after him there, and some blitzers coming as well. Jesse Adu as well, the linebacker coming from the outside. So they're not afraid to bring some heat and put it on the quarterback.
Well, that's the linebacker, Steve Harrell. A lot of numbers here. With 133 guys on the roster, you've got multiple 28. So this is the linebacker, Steve Harrell, who earlier forced a fumble. Now he recovers a fumble. And here come the Tommies up 14-0 and banging on the door once again.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult. They're going to have to make some changes on the defense right now. They've got to figure out how they can complicate up front. They've got to start moving and getting into the gaps, because right now the offensive line of the Tommies just absolutely manhandling Linfield. There's going to have to be an answer. They can't get 4, 5, 6 yards on every carry.
Oh, we've already talked about Alex Hoff, the other big men up front for the Wildcats. Zach Great, sophomore from Olympia, Washington. Ty Farber, a junior from Wasilla, Alaska. And Asa Schwartz, a sophomore out of Chelan, Washington. 2nd down and 5. Roberts. Again, more open space, and he's tripped up. Dragged down by Mitch Lewis. Otherwise, it would have been another touchdown.
The one thing that we've got to be a little bit, and you can see it right there at the end of this play, but once again, you get the big pulling guard, number 70, Zach Brennan, leading to the outside. You run it behind Will Hilbert, the big left tackle. There is nobody out there until just about before Roberts is able to get to the end zone. But Roberts got up a little gingerly, and the one thing that we've talked about is how healthy they've been able to hold themselves. Well, Roberts last week showed some signs of an elbow. Maybe it's his shoulder. Again, when he got up after that play and went to the sidelines, it was his elbow.
Kaiser in for his 2nd touchdown of the day. It's already 20-0 St. Thomas.
Truolokolo on the outside blocking, doing a great job from the fullback spot, number 31. But the offensive line's just absolutely handling Linfield right now, and there's going to have to be some answers, and maybe that's through blitzing, but you can tell right here, look at Kaiser. There's nobody there. He gets into there long before Alex Huff's able to get his hands on him before he's into the end zone.
And you know, it's easy to forget about Jack Kaiser, but he now has 36 career touchdowns.
He is something.
Here's the fake.
Yep.
Dowdle. He has scored 14 two-point conversions this year, and he's still holding at 14.
Yeah, they're not afraid to take a risk, though. It's absolutely amazing, and I think that was a call by Dowdle that time to try to put that ball in the end zone.
Back in St. Paul, Minnesota, where the guys in purple have had their way. St. Thomas on top, 20-0. And it looks like we've got a capacity crowd of around 6,000 here at O'Shaughnessy Stadium.
Yeah, they look pretty excited, don't they? They did a great job supporting this team for the entire year, but for a long time now, and it's impressive how many folks are out here today. It doesn't hurt that it's 40 degrees in Minnesota.
Well, it looks like Jack Kaiser has it going. He is one of 12 seniors on this roster who have so much experience, who actually played in the Stag Bowl as freshmen, and this is what Coach Caruso has been able to build around.
Absolutely, and because they've had so many lopsided victories, they have had a lot of players get a lot of playing time throughout this season as well. So there's a lot of experience on this St. Thomas football team because of the success of the offense and the defense.
Kick fielded at the 14-yard line by Kennedy Johnson, and he is tackled at the 26-yard line. Well, Linfield College is in Oregon wine country, McMinnville, Oregon, founded back in the mid-19th century. And if you don't know, now you know. They are one of the powers, one of the true powers in Division III football.
Yeah, they really are. When you look at the record of both these two coaches, both Glenn Caruso and Joseph Smith, it's impressive. You're talking about two programs where you're winning 80+% of your games. That's just incredible. And both teams doing a great job of recruiting outside of their state.
And we saw they won the Stag Bowl back in '04. Incomplete the pass. Eric Ibinaba, the junior from Cheney, Washington, couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, you've got to do anything you can to help out your quarterback. This time, Tom Knecht goes to the outside. He's avoiding the rush. That's something that they've had to make that adjustment. Get some time in the pocket, but give himself a little extra time by getting off to the outside. That time his receiver let him down. You've got to make those catches to help your quarterback out.
Knecht gets rid of it. Spencer Payne trying to break the tackle, can't do it. He's finally dropped at the 25-yard line. He actually loses a couple of yards. It'll bring up 3rd down and 12.
And that St. Thomas defense, everybody coming over to help out. It's just an aggressive attack style defense. It's why they've had so much success. 48 sacks on the year. Just really impressive how they're able to get after quarterbacks. Expect to see one extra player, maybe 5 or 6 coming after Knecht.
Design run for the quarterback, and Knecht has plenty of room for the first down. Chased out of bounds at the 45. Moses Aquinabe on the tackle.
And that's the risk they did bring. They brought 3 extra players, so they were really going to come after Knecht that time. But because of the play call, there was enough of a seam. Tom was able to look downfield, wide open once he got past the initial rushers, got themselves a first down, getting them up close to the 50-yard line.
19 yards on the pickup for the senior out of Lake Oswego, Oregon. Lake Ridge High School. Wildcats 1st and 10 at their own 45. Knecht deep down the left sideline. Overthrows his intended receiver, and it's incomplete.
Not a bad decision that time by Tom Knecht. He's looking downfield. He sees his receiver. He figures he's going to put that ball up in the air where it's not going to get intercepted. The receiver was well covered. You've got to get that separation. If you're not going to get that separation, unfortunately, if the quarterback makes that decision to try to get it there, it's going to be picked off. Great decision that time by Tom Knecht.
He was trying to attack the terrific defensive back Jordan Young. Over the middle, pass intercepted, going the other way. The Tommies with another takeaway thanks to Jesse Addo.
And Jesse Addo, we talked about the fact that he plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage a lot with 16 tackles for a loss. He's also got a lot of tackles this year, very aggressive up front, but Knecht just did not see him as he's looking for his receiver on the outside. It's Brian Balsiger, but he doesn't see the great job of just sitting and adjusting and sliding over right in front of the receiver. Tom Knecht's got to see that linebacker. He missed him.
And thanks to the junior out of Wayzata High School here in the Twin Cities, it's another short field for the Tommies offense. They have now had the football 4 times, their first 3 drives. All wound up in the end zone. The last time covered only 27 yards. And they are looking to build on their 20-0 lead here with 1:47 remaining in the first.
And a little bit of a page of the Jim Harbaugh playbook there as well, with all these extra tight ends that they've got out on the field.
Waldvogel maybe gains a yard. 2nd down and 9.
And that's okay. They're looking to just try to wear down this defense. They're going to be doing some of these shifts. They're going to move around as well. And John Gould, this quarterback, has done a great job throughout his career, but this season alone, he's done an outstanding job. 25 touchdowns, throwing the ball down the field. He'll run it once in a while as well.
And on that last drive, it appeared that Jordan Roberts suffered some sort of an injury, perhaps to his shoulder, perhaps to his elbow. He remains on the sideline. Kaiser in there again. And this time, the defensive front again for the Wildcats stands up. Eli Biendine, senior from Mililani, Hawaii, with the tackle.
Jordan Roberts, we were talking about, he's had something that's been aggravating. Either it's his shoulder or his elbow. We're not really sure, but something's really been bothering him. Last week, he was kind of holding that shoulder sort of funny a couple of times coming off the field, and this week, it's already started to happen. He's already been in there and pounding the football, but it really happened on that one long scamper down towards the end zone when he went out of bounds.
3rd down and 6. I formation behind Gould. He gives to Kaiser. Picks his way to the 30. And that'll bring up 4th down and could bring us to the end of the first quarter. Either way, I can bet you that Glenn Caruso isn't thinking about trying to kick a long field goal
here.
You
can tell by the look on his face that whether or not this is going to be the end of the quarter, they're going for it on fourth down one way or the other.
It's just going to be at the other end of the football field. So Coach Caruso's team, which does not lose very often here on this field, with a 20-0 lead heading to the second. As we head to the second quarter, we show you that it has been all Tommies over the Wildcats so far, 20-0, and that third line really tells as much the story as any, Pete.
It really does. Linfield's just been struggling on offense, trying to find some kind of a rhythm right now, and Tom Knecht, unfortunately, he's made some mistakes, but his players haven't made up anything for him either to be able to do much with that offense to get themselves on rhythm. Wow, that's unusual,
Linfield.
Right?
So now Linfield uses a timeout coming out of the quarter. They couldn't have been surprised that the offense came out for St. Thomas.
No, not with the style we all know of Glenn Caruso. And he kind of showed before that, even before we went to the end of the quarter, that they were going to go for it, and they're on the other side of the 50, which means he's going to go for it. So it shouldn't have caught them off guard, but maybe he just didn't like the personnel they had on the field. But if that's going to be the adjustment, expect different personnel on the field for St. Thomas as well.
As a team, St. Thomas has punted only 19 times all year, fewest in the country. There's a look at the campus we are on here in St. Paul, Minnesota. And that enrollment of 6,200. The undergrads, they do have 5,000 or 6,000 postgraduate students as well. And they are perennially in the Division III National Tournament. And here 1 win away from getting back to the Stag Bowl. Intercepted with one hand. How about that by Skylar Elgarico?
A little bit surprising that time with the kind of a play call that they had here, and maybe that timeout worked out well, obviously, for the Linfield defense. But you can see John Gould's going to sprint off to his right side and try to cross back across the field. When you do that, that ball's going to be in the air a little bit longer. He's looking for Charlie Dowdle, who we haven't really had a chance to call his name much so far, the big tight end. He's been the target. He was the target that time, but great job that time, execution on the interception.
So the first 4 and out of the afternoon for the Linfield defense, down 20-0. Tom Knecht, the senior, back onto the field. Both of these teams undefeated. Linfield 12-0. St. Thomas 13-0. Knecht at midfield with Zach Cousins, the junior from Portland, Oregon. It's a first down for the Wildcats.
And I think that's what they've got to do to help out Tom Knecht back there in the pocket. This is going to be a one-dimensional game now because they're down 20-0. They've got to put the ball in the air. They'll run it here and there, but they've got to get it in the air. That time, Knecht on the outside has a little extra time to be able to release the football.
After the 17-yard gain, they pick up 4 or 5 to Eric Douglas. And so 2nd down and 6.
We talked about some of the depth at wide receiver. That's the 4th name you've put out there so far in terms of the receivers getting that ball at least being targeted by Tom Knecht. So they've got all kinds of depth on the Linfield offense, and they're giving Tom Knecht a better opportunity to get downfield by giving him outside of the pocket.
Keep it on the ground this time. Very near first down yardage for Spencer Payne. Ryan Winter downfield to make the tackle.
And how impressive is that when your nose guard gets downfield like that to be able to make that kind of a play? Great job by Ryan Winter getting downfield. But they're starting to find a little rhythm. It feels a little bit different right now for the Linfield offense.
Linfield averages nearly 500 yards of offense per game. You knew they would get it going. It's another first down inside the 30-yard line, and out of bounds Brian Balsiger, senior and Portland State transfer.
Yep, another one of these transfers. And take a look at the way Tom Knecht stands back there this time, steps into that, and a nice cannon to the outside that time to get the ball to Balsiger. Moving the chains, it's what they needed. Now they're down inside the 30-yard line. Offense is finally starting to find a little rhythm.
15 yards on that last pass play toward the end zone. Out of bounds on the completion is Eric Douglas III. It's 1st and goal for Linfield.
Eric Douglas III that time just beating the corner to the outside, just on a fade pattern, just running straight down the field. Excellent job of, now is that heel out of bounds? Are they going to want to try to take a look at something like this? The toe got in, you only need one, but here they come.
Timeout, St. Thomas.
There's no timeout.
Right.
The previous play of a completed catch is under further review.
So there you go. The signal that St. Thomas had burned a timeout, incorrect. It's going to be reviewed, and I think they are going to say he was out of bounds.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see in that review booth just across from us here, but that's the other interesting thing isn't it interesting to see Joseph Smith up there in the press box as the head coach, keeping an eye on things. Great pass either way. Tom Knecht just throws that ball, puts it where his receiver has a chance to make that play. And big question now is, did Eric Douglas III get that foot in? The toe's in, but then the heel comes down. It's going right up against Jordan Young, by the way, who has got those 3 interceptions for this Linfield defense. I believe he leads the team in interceptions. Big corner, 6'3", 195 pounds. So you've got to get the ball in the right spot to be able to get it to Douglas over the top of Young.
Yeah, the Tommies have 2 big corners. Moses Aquinabe at 6'2", 204. Jordan Young 6'3", 192. And as you mentioned, Pete, those 3 interceptions do lead the team, and he did have a 100-yard pick six earlier this season.
Not so bad when you've got 108 yards in returns, although one of them is the 100-yarder.
That way?
Well, you know, anytime a defensive player gets his hands on the football, he wants to go to the house, right?
You don't get that chance much, right?
Absolutely.
He's a track star as well, so this is a guy who's got a great athleticism. He's got that size and the height on the outside at corner, but whenever I see that these guys have ran track in high school and they excelled and they went to the States and all the rest of that, that tells you a little something about just how fast and athletic they are.
Well, if it's ruled incomplete, it'll be 2nd down and 10 at the 26-yard line. You played your college football just a few miles to the east of here.
Yeah.
With the Gophers, and so when the temperature is in the high 30s, it's chilly, there's no sun out as we get the ruling.
After further review, the receiver's foot was out of bounds before catching the ball. The pass is incomplete. It will be 2nd down on the 26-yard line. Linfield ball.
There you go. What are the biggest challenges when the temperature is what it is?
Well, you know, I got to be honest with you. When I played here at the University of Minnesota, we were in the dome, so it was 70 and sunny all the time.
Not bad.
But we had to go to Iowa. We had to go to Michigan State, so we played in this kind of temperatures. But this is beautiful. This is you don't get tired because it's not that warmth, but you want it. You want to stay warm. And if you're moving around out there the way these guys are right now, I mean, they're out there sweating. There's no doubt about it. And this is perfect football weather for everybody. It's not so bad catching the football because you're above 40 degrees. That's not so bad. So it's a lot of fun. This is a perfect day for late fall, maybe early winter football.
And the winner of this one will be in Virginia on Friday in the Stag Bowl, playing for the Division III National Championship.
And yes, it was sunny in the dome. Tell me, the guys in the truck are giving me a little bit of flack about that, but the lights are on,
Well, the folks here in St. Paul rooting for the Tommies like that reversal. Now they're on their feet. 2nd down and 10 at the 26. Knecht takes the snap. Throws to the end zone to his running back, Payne, who got a hand on it but could not haul it in.
Great job that time by Tommy Knecht, being able to find where he needs to be in the pocket to be able to release this football, because they're bringing pressure from everywhere. You can see a lot of purple shirts, 6 players coming after him. Just too much under the ball this time, and he felt the pressure and late gets hit, but great job of at least finding where he needed to be in the pocket to be able to have a chance to get the ball out there to Spencer Payne.
Yeah, he had the linebacker Tim McClanahan on him, or trying to be on him, just couldn't connect. Here he goes, short pass to Payne this time. Picks his way through a couple of tackles, but he's going to be short of the 1st down. There's McClanahan, the senior from St. Paul, with the tackle. Is it one way or the other? Excuse me, Pete. This will be Tim McClanahan's last game on this field. This was his high school field as well. So what? 7 years of playing your home football games here on this turf.
And talking to his old high school coaches this week, they all said, look, that kid's a football player. He is an absolute linebacker through and through. Out
of Cretin-Durham Hall. fourth down pass completed inside the 10, and the Wildcats will keep it. Bolsinger on the receiving end.
It's nice to have those big wide receivers on the outside. Tom Knecht, 6'5", 215-pound quarterback as well, but he finds very easy pass. Pitch and catch that time to Brian Bolsinger. Does a great job standing in the pocket, gets hit late by Ryan Winter, but not before he's able to connect and put that ball inside the 10-yard line.
12-yard pickup, and it'll be first and goal. Now Knecht stands 6'5", 215 pounds. On the year, he has completed 71% of his passes. Problem is, in limited time, he's also thrown 6 interceptions, including one today, and he gets leveled. It's incomplete. That ball did hit the turf, very nearly intercepted.
It's Alex Stevenson out there. He's another tremendous athlete, sort of like that in-between, like a monster type player. He's a linebacker / strong safety, but you look across, he and Jesse Addo on the other outside, they're not huge. They both weigh around 200 pounds, but they can move very, very fast, and they play to those sidelines, and they force those plays to the outside because of that speed.
And actually, the two corners are bigger than the two outside linebackers. Perfectly placed, but the football was dropped by Bolsinger. He could not haul it in. And over the railing now back onto the field, Isaac Searing, good to see that he's okay.
And Knecht puts this ball right where it needs to be, gives him a chance. Bolsinger is not able to hold on to it. I'm not so sure he was going to be able to drag that foot in or not, but look at the effort on the outside there by Jordan Young, trying to trail him.
Third and goal from the 8. Knecht lost it to the right side. No flags. Looking for Johnny Carroll, but the coverage was right there by Isaac Searing. Make it Aquinoby, Aquinoby on the coverage.
Aquinoby on the coverage, and I'll tell you what, if I'm the coach, I'm pretty frustrated. It seemed to me like Aquinoby had his hands all over him as the ball was in the air coming down, and not any kind of a chance for the receiver to make a play on the ball.
So down 20-0. Linfield brings out Michael Metter, who last week kicked the game-winning 32-yard field goal with zeros on the clock in the national quarterfinal victory over Mary Hardin-Baylor. Here just trying to get on the board. Ooh. And it is good. So this Linfield offense here in the second quarter finally gets it going. A 12-play, 59-yard drive winds up in 3 points on the board. It's the NCAA Division III Championship semifinal presented by Northwestern Mutual. And on that last drive for Linfield to get on the board with a field goal, 12 plays, 59 yards. Pete, 11 of the 12 plays were through the air.
Yeah, we were talking about how they're just going to have to almost abort on the running game right now. And they finally gave a chance for Tom Knecht to be able to move around in the pocket and find his receivers downfield. He did a nice job of finding his way through a lot of pressure because the St. Thomas defense, Wally Kaczynski is really bringing the pressure. He's bringing 5, he's bringing 6, sometimes even 7. They're trying to get after the quarterback, and that time Tom Knecht was able to find some of those wide receivers downfield.
Waldvogel and Gilliland standing at their own 5-yard line, awaiting the kick. With 11:54 remaining in the second quarter. Waldvogel lets it goes out of bounds, and the flag comes.
Well, you don't want to kick it to him, but you don't want to kick it out of bounds either. And
no.
That's going to be a problem.
Well, Linfield has not done itself any favors. They, on offense, have put the ball on the turf twice, lost one of the fumbles. They've also thrown an interception, and now when you finally score, you wind up...
Illegal kick out of bounds. Kicking team. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
So you wind up kicking it out of bounds and giving St. Thomas, while not its best field position, not bad field position here. It looks like Jordan Roberts will come back into the game. You see 84 yards already on 11 carries. He appeared to perhaps aggravate some sort of shoulder injury, but good to see number 23 in purple back onto the field.
Yeah, he's a tough kid. There's no doubt about it. He's solid. He runs real well. He's got enough speed. He's not got that breakaway speed probably quite like some of the other running backs on the squad, but certainly between the tackles, he's been outstanding.
And he gets the football on first down. Hit at the line of scrimmage, able to break the first tackle and pick up a couple. He's a young man out of a town of 17,000 near the Montana border in Sheridan, Wyoming. And as we mentioned, he transferred from the University of South Dakota, where last year he played at Oregon in front of 57,000.
How great was that?
The year before he played at Kansas in front of 42,000. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I don't think there's any circumstance that's going to ever make this kid nervous, because he's got the experience and he's an outstanding running back. 29 touchdowns.
Here he goes again. Dropped at the 40. That'll bring up 3rd down and 5. Alex Hoff with the tackle, the senior from Lebanon, Oregon, who, as mentioned, the NFL scouts keep their eye on him, both as a defensive end and also as a long snapper, first-team All-American.
You can make a career out of that, by the way. I had a couple of friends who did very, very well in the NFL as long snappers, and I'll tell you, Alex Hoff, you love just how tenacious he is and how aggressive he can be, and he plays on the other side of the ball. By the way, 5 fumbles on the year as well.
Gould still looking downfield, and is he going to be able to make the connection? No, in and out of the hands of Waldvogel, and it appeared that perhaps one of his teammates, Zach Brennan, a lineman, might have had a shot at it, but it's an incomplete pass.
I love the speed from Mikey Arkins, the safety that time, who came at the very end and attacked towards John Gould as he was coming to the outside. And that's why that ball was thrown where it was, and it was very, very low. That's a ball that normally Waldvogel would end up holding on to, but look at number 20 just coming right after him very, very fast. He forced that play. That's why that play wasn't executed right, and that's why they're punting the football.
Pete Fitzsimmons on to punt the football. He stands at his own 26-yard line.
Oh, they use up the clock?
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Well, you do kind of feel a momentum swing here. The Linfield defense has now stopped the Tommies offense twice in a row.
Yeah, very, very impressive. Had to come up with some big plays. That was with Jordan Roberts in there running the football, and obviously that last play of the throw from John Gould that was forced and they weren't able to execute. Now you get a penalty, and now there's going to be a great opportunity. Maybe get the ball somewhere close to midfield. Fitzsimmons with a high punt. Fair catch called for at the 32-yard line by Kennedy Johnson.
We'll take a break. 20-3, St. Thomas.
Let me know you out there. Put your hands in.
Back in St. Paul, Minnesota, where Linfield trails by 17, and part of the trouble has been their own doing, Pete.
Yeah, they've just had too many mistakes, and they're too costly. When you look at this didn't end up costing them much, but it's still a fumble. You put the ball on the turf, but they did recover that one. But there's the fumble that hurts. Look how deep into territory they are. And again, the interception on the other side as well. Nice return, puts them inside the 40-yard line. So the 2 turnovers putting St. Thomas in great field position to put points on the board.
Wildcats take over at their own 37-yard line. Pretty much no gain on first down as Eric Sutton dropped the ball carrier, Spencer Payne.
And I think that's one of those plays. They're just trying to keep the defense, honest right now. They're going to give the ball occasionally to Spencer Payne, but they realize they've got to put the ball in the air, and they did a great job on the previous drive getting Connect outside of the pocket so he's able to look downfield and put that ball where it needs to be.
Looking left, flag down. Pass off the hands of the intended receiver. It's the tight end, Levi Altringer. Let's see what the penalty marker's all about.
Offside. Number 49, defense. 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
There's the senior Eric Sutton called for the flag, trying to get upfield. He leads this team with 9.5 sacks. But he surrenders 5 yards because of the penalty, brings up 2nd down and 5.
He's another one of these guys who plays on the other side of the ball a lot. He's got 18 tackles for a loss for his career. And boy, does he look all jacked up. That guy, these guys are in great shape on that defensive line.
He's one of the many seniors with lots of experience for the Tommies. Nearly a one-handed catch, but Ibinaba couldn't haul it in.
And Wally Kaczynski, the defensive coordinator, he is just bringing pressure after pressure after pressure onto Tom Knecht. And you can see it up front there. There's 6 guys coming after the quarterback. It's amazing how patient Knecht is back there, because he's got to use that clock, though. He's got to find himself in his brain, count to 3 and get rid of that football.
3rd down and 5. The Linfield quarterback makes the connection to his receiver Balsinger, and it's a big pickup into Tommy's territory.
These 2 receivers on the outside, Balsinger and Johnny Carroll, they both possess great height, great size, and you can see that time that was a perfect window to be able to look downfield by Tom Knecht. He's able to find Balsinger downfield. 1st down, other side of the 50.
19-yard pickup for Balsinger. 1st and 10 at the 44. Knecht puts it up. He's got Payne, who's drilled as he tried to make the catch by Isaac Searing.
Yeah, Searing's a very aggressive safety. All these safeties are very aggressive, but coming over and that ball's kind of hanging up in the air that time. But look at the pressure once again. They are not stopping. It's going to be relentless. And Kaczynski's talked about it before the game. He said, look, if we need to, we're going to get players in front of the face. And if Tom Knecht is back there, we need to get in his face, because he did such an outstanding job last week.
On 2nd and 10, Knecht going to be dropped for a big loss. That did not fool anybody, and it's Steve Harrell who leads the team in tackles with another tackle for loss, his 12th on the season.
Yeah, it's Harrell, it's Winter. You can see, look at all the twists and turns, and Harrell has great speed. He gets in there with a very aggressive rush coming from the outside. See that big swing move coming back into the inside? Great job. That was a called play. It would have worked, except for the fact that that called defensive play put too much pressure. Tom Knecht was looking for that quarterback draw up the middle.
3rd and 15. They set up the screen. Payne across the 45. And he's going to be well short of 1st down yardage. It'll be 4th down and 8 at the 42.
Looks like they're thinking about trying to bring it, going for it right now. But look at that pressure. 4 players on his back. Head sort of snapped a little bit. That you want to keep an eye on that. But Steve Harrell again putting the pressure and snapping Tom Knecht down onto the field. Going for it here, 4th and 8.
Play clock under 10. Knecht under pressure, has to throw it sooner than he wanted to, and he connected with one of our camera guys. Hit him right, it looked like, on the lens. We'll take a break. 20-3, the Tommies over the Wildcats.
Put your hands in the earth. Let me know you out there. Put your hands in.
The winner of this football game will advance to the NCAA championship game next weekend. It's the 43rd annual Stag Bowl, Friday, 7 o'clock on ESPNU. Since 1993, it's played at the Salem Football Stadium. And Mount Union, having already won its semifinal today, will be making its 11th straight Stag Bowl appearance.
Incredible program. They've been around, it seems like, and they've always seemed to be in that Stag. Seems like for the last 30 years, Mount Union is somewhere in the game.
In motion, Gilliland out of the I formation. Give up the middle, Roberts. Good pickup on 1st down, and you know the last 2 times UST has had the football, they've gained just a total of 6 yards. They pick up 5 right there.
You can see that time the offensive line doing a great job just trying to attack upfield, just going straight at them between the guards, not between the tackles. Stand between the guards that time with Jordan Roberts running the football.
They say picked up 4, so make it a 2nd and 6. John Gould under center. Tosses back to Roberts. Runs over a tackler and gets into enemy territory.
Yeah, he runs with some great power, and he's bigger than the linebacker, Jake Raymer, who's trying to come up and make this tackle. You'll see it at the very end, number 4, but just lowers that left shoulder onto him and just runs right over the top of him. That's who this guy is. Jordan Roberts He's 222 pounds, and he plays like a guy who's 240 pounds. He's going to run low, and he's going to dip those shoulders down and give you that shoulder. And that time just ran right over the top of Jake Ramo.
Yeah, he runs like you would think for a guy who drives a 2002 Chevy pickup with over 200,000 miles on it. Here he goes again. Well, the last time he dump trucked one of the linebackers, this time a bigger hole, and it's a first down for the Tommies.
And the Tommies they just want to grind this football, and you can tell James Killian's sort of shifted things around a little bit. They're not putting the ball in the air. They're just trying to grind it. Jordan Roberts is back out there, apparently healthy enough, and certainly the way he's run the last 2 plays, he looks like a guy whose shoulder or elbow is feeling okay right now, and he's dropping it and bringing it to him and getting 5, 6, 7 yards.
Well, he's already over the century mark. 16 carries, 104 yards. The average is 130 per game. Here comes number 23 again with another big run on first down. The tackle made by El Garrico, or else that one could have gone.
El Garrico, you know, it's not a good thing when your safeties are having to make these kind of tackles, because that means you're getting past that first line of the D-line. You're getting past those linebackers who are trying to get over to him, but now all of a sudden it's up to the safeties. You can see him there, right there, grabbing his ankle. So it's been his shoulder, it's been his elbow, now a little bit of the ankle, but they don't drop off a lot when Jack Kaiser comes in the game either, number 5.
Well, Pete, you know, as a football player, it's not if you get hurt, it's when you're going to get hurt.
Absolutely.
And he has been dinged a couple of times. So Roberts on the sideline. As you mentioned, Jack Kaiser already with 2 touchdowns takes the toss. Cuts it upfield. A helmet comes flying off of one of the Wildcats.
Yeah, Zach Great.
There are the numbers on Jordan Roberts as he tries to walk off what looked like some sort of ankle tweak. So there's Jack Kaiser, loads of experience. He had plenty of reps back in the 2012 Stag Bowl against, of course, Mount Union. And this year he has rushed for 10 touchdowns, 400 yards, and for his career nearly 2,300 yards for that young man, number 5 in purple.
Yeah, it's not a huge drop off from Jordan Roberts when you go to Jack Kaiser. So they've just got so much depth here at the University of St. Thomas. It's impressive.
3 for 5 on third down. Kaiser makes it 4 out of 6 for the Tommies.
Well, when you've got that big offensive line, you've got some tough running backs that are both well over 200 pounds. They're going to lay that shoulder down. You got 3rd and short. That's a real easy call for James Killian, the offensive coordinator. Let's just push them back and force that ball across. And looks like Jordan Roberts back in the football game. And
as we talked about off the top, this offensive line averages over 300 pounds per guy.
This is Division III, and these guys are 310 pounds across. It's
amazing.
It is amazing.
Roberts back in on the toss sweep. Flag behind the play comes down. Zach Great with the tackle, sophomore from Olympia, Washington. And there is a player slow to get up, holding his right ankle. Looks like Zach Brennan, the right guard, senior from Iowa City.
And he's been leading the charge, because for this game, they've been running that left side most frequently, and he's the right side guard, but he's been pulling and leading on that play multiple times throughout this game so far. And give him a lot of credit for why Jordan Roberts is seeing the size of the holes that he's seeing, because big Zach Brennan's coming to the outside. He's pushing guys and opening up those holes.
He's a young man who played his high school football for former NFL tight end Marv Cook. And he has had a terrific run here at St. Thomas. 2nd-year starter. We've got ourselves a 15-yard penalty, and so that's why the football has been moved back as Brennan.
Personal foul, chop block, number 62 and 77 of the offense. It's 15 yards, still first down.
So let's see the injury first. It'll be the 2nd guy on the left of this replay upcoming. Keep an eye on number 70.
Almost like he hyperflexed it or something.
And then let's take a look at the 15-yard penalty on the chop block.
Yeah, you could see Richie Donovan that time. He's engaged, and when you're engaged, you can't have another player come low. It's exactly what happened that time as Will Hilbert coming from that tackle position as Donovan was holding up his player.
Good to see Brennan walking off the field under his own power. And so after the penalty, it's first and very long, 1st and 25 for the Toms. Out of the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, charter members in a league that dates back to 1920. Gould under pressure, and he is nailed back at the 45-yard line by Alex Hoff.
Yeah, I was about to say, guess who?
Yeah.
They finally got some pressure. They haven't been able to get to Gould, but that time they did, and it's Alex Hoff. We've talked about how good this young man is, and look at the athleticism as well. You talked about, the next level. Is he a linebacker maybe at the next level? At 6'3", 240 pounds, you're a smaller defensive end, but that's a good-sized linebacker. Just look at how aggressive some of those numbers are. 24 tackles for a loss. You can see the sacks and fumbles, and this guy makes things happen out on the football field. Big number 55. You can see him there on the left-hand side.
So after a loss of 6, 2nd and 31. And the play clock expired again.
Leg game. Offense, number 17. 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
5th penalty against Coach Caruso's club.
Well, we're looking at 2nd and a country mile right now. I mean, this is...
They're going in the wrong direction for sure. Dowdle, the tight end, goes wide right. Looking that way the whole way, trying to take advantage of his size, and the pass is incomplete. Took a while to get the call. Looked like as he went to the turf it was going to be a catch, and the folks here in St. Paul not happy about it as the call goes against the Tommies.
You can hear exactly what Coach Caruso is complaining about. He's saying it's a catch, and then the ball, after he established the catch, comes out. But that's going to be a tough one, because when you look at this, take a look at the left foot.
Does he have control there with the right foot in?
See, that's the thing. Is there enough control there with the right foot in, and then that left foot obviously comes out on the white?
So what Coach Caruso was arguing, saying the ball came out after he was out of bounds, but that might not even be the initial problem for the Tommies.
Yeah, is that a catch while he's in bounds and with that foot, the right foot?
Well, you could see they were going to Dowdle the whole way at 6'4", 238. They had the play they wanted. Just did he get that foot in with control? The left foot obviously out of bounds.
Yeah.
But was the right foot down before he had control?
And they're looking at it real close, but those two big hands that he's got, Dowdle, big kid, 6'4". He's got that NFL style body. Does he have enough speed? That's something that'll come later in life that you want to worry about. But right there, boy, it sure looks like he's got full control of the ball with that right hand. Excuse me, that right foot in.
Well, he has already scored 9 touchdowns this year, 23 career touchdowns. Caruso just helping the officials there.
As a head coach should. James Killian, the quarterback coach here and offensive coordinator, you talked about he was at Tulsa. And he also played in the NFL. He played at Kansas City. He played in Atlanta. This guy's got a lot of experience. And he said that Dowdle, the tight end, he said he's not only outstanding, but he is a mismatch nightmare, because most teams try to attack and they want to cover him with linebackers. It's not going to work. Safeties, it's not going to work. So you've got to actually move a cornerback over there to be able to cover him, and he's still going to beat them. So he's got too much size, and that's what makes him so difficult to match up with, because at this level, at the Division III level, who are you going to designate to be on him, to cover him? And I'd expect to see him targeted far more in the second half than they have here in the first half.
Well, the best bet for the Wildcats, just based on size, might be Kyle Belcher, their cornerback, who is listed at 6'3", junior from El Dorado Hills, California. And the officials just making sure they get it right. And perhaps when it takes this long, trying to figure out
where to
if
place
they
the
do
ball.
reverse it, where do they place the ball exactly.
And I think Coach Caruso was exactly right. I mean, he saw the whole thing. He was right there. He wasn't just as the coach, but he's looking at that thing. And the hands of Charlie Dowdle were up in the air. And like we were talking about, did he have control? Looked like he had control.
Take another look with the reactions, which are priceless. Coach can still move. He's only 40. You know, he played, was a standout player himself. Native of Greenwich, Connecticut. Played for the Ithaca Bombers back in the day.
Not such a bad place out there. Steve Young's from out that part of the world as well.
After further review, the pass was completed at the 29-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 7, St. Thomas. The clock will start on my ready.
So we have had 2 reversals so far here this afternoon on video reviews. This one goes for the Tommies. So they got exactly what they wanted on what was 2nd down and a mile. Now they've got 3rd manageable. Yeah,
when you're 2nd and 36, you're just wondering what do you dial up? Well, you do a fade pattern to your best and favorite target to the outside. And we didn't even mention it, but John Gould, outstanding touch that time, putting that ball where it needed to be for that catch.
Meanwhile, on the sideline, it looks like Zach Brennan has received his treatment. He'll be coming back into the game. 29 yards on that last pickup. 4 first down. It's Gould, and he was down before the ball came loose, so it's a 1st down, St. Thomas.
And we were talking about John Gould, the quarterback, and he's had an outstanding year throwing the football, but we said he can run as well. Well, that time it just proves it. What a nice job of finding himself downfield and sprinting and almost getting himself there, a play away from maybe getting into the end zone.
Tackled by Dylan Lewis. We already mentioned his twin brother Mitch Lewis, both in the defensive secondary for the Wildcats. 16-yard run for the quarterback, John Gould. 1st and 10 from the 13. Toss back to Roberts, and he has stood up.
Alex Hoff.
Like Zach Great as well, the 2 of them teaming up. You know, you wonder how some of these Division I kids who were either recruited by Division I schools, offered, or have transferred, wind up at a Division III school, but they all have their own stories. And for Alex Hoff, that's because he wanted to play with his older brother Tyler Steele, who at the time was an All-American at Linfield.
Yeah, how great is that?
Pretty cool.
The opportunity to play with, I had that opportunity as a young man as well in high school, playing with my brothers, and a couple of brothers played right here in the MIAC at Gustavus Adolphus College, part of this whole conference. So it's a real treat when you can play with your family members, man. There's nothing like it.
This is the 11th play of the drive. Trying to again find Charlie Dowdle, incomplete.
They've been able to put pressure on the quarterback, and that's one thing. Even that time where he's sprinting outside of the pocket, Gould's coming off to the right-hand side, right-hand quarterback. It works out perfect, but they've been able to get in front of him enough to not rattle him, but force him to make some errant passes, and that time just nothing there.
Waldvogel checks back in. Jordan Roberts goes out. Keep your eye on number 2 in purple. He and Gould, longtime high school teammates at St. Thomas Academy. The St. Paul Pioneer Press had a nice story in this morning's newspaper about their longtime friendship and the fact that they have been teammates for a number of years. One gives to the other, and indeed it's a pass by Waldvogel. Incomplete. Dowdle very nearly was able to haul that in.
You know, I had a great opportunity before the game to talk to a great gentleman who does the play-by-play for St. Thomas University on the radio, and he said, look, he said, Waldvogel's left-handed, and he's going to throw the ball once in a while. There it is. The left-handed receiver gets the ball, comes to the outside, throws it there just a little bit outside the stretched hands of Charlie Dowdle, but not a bad pass.
When you talk about legacies, Waldvogel's older brother Fritz was an All-American wide receiver and kick returner here at St. Thomas from 2008 to 2011. Now Fritz has had 46 touchdowns. His kid brother is closing in. He's at 26 and counting.
Not so bad.
Not so bad.
These guys setting records. Matter of fact, he's the sideline man for the radio broadcast across the way here.
Well, his little brother was unable to complete the pass for a touchdown, and so the field goal attempt is up, and it is good by Paul Grumpner. So the 3 that the Tommies gave back, they get it back. A 13-play, 44-yard drive. A field goal makes the score 23-3. 23-3, the Tommies lead the Wildcats here in St. Paul, Minnesota, where Sports Center made a stop back in September. And yes, it's Division III football, but Sports Center on the road knows how to get here to St. Paul.
Well, they do, and they can appreciate what this conference and this university has done over the last 10 years or so, and it's been an impressive run. Glenn Caruso, when they hired him, he just absolutely came in, changed the attitude, changed the winning. Boy, by the way, you could see big David Simmons in the middle there with the beard. But a great program, and they've got the size of Division I. They've got the athleticism, and just incredible. It's great that Game Day was able to come here and Sports Center able to come here.
And they were playing their arch rival from St. John's in the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. And when those two schools hook up, when they play here, they bring in extra bleachers. And when they play at St. John's, you can have 17,000 people there.
Yeah, and that's a great atmosphere up there in Collegeville. It's absolutely beautiful. But look at this home record. Look at what Glenn Caruso has been able to establish here at St. Thomas, University of St. Thomas. Absolutely impressive.
51-4. This is 8th year. He was the Division III National Coach of the Year in 2012. It's booted in the end zone, and Wildcats are in trouble. And it is a safety. Tackled in the end zone, Kennedy Johnson. And that's a quick 2 points for the Tommies to put on the board.
Going on the field is the momentum of the ball, took it into the end zone. Therefore, it is a touchback.
So it's a touchback, not a safety. So take those 2 points off the board. And it's 23-2, or rather 23-3.
It seemed like the accurate call, quite frankly. The ball was still moving, and it was still going with its own momentum into the end zone there. And it's one of those situations where the players, I think they're even questioning, hey, do I got to take this out of here right now or not? And I think he chose to try to get it out of there. And if he had, that ball would have been placed somewhere close to about the half-yard line or something had he got out of it.
Yeah, so Linfield catches a huge break. They've got the football at their own 25-yard line. Let's see what they can do with a minute remaining in the half. Put it in the air and a quick first down. Completion to Zach Cousins.
Well, he never seems to be shaken. He doesn't seem like the moment's too big. And Tom Knecht doing an outstanding job. By the way, the offensive line that time, nobody near him, had a perfect pocket to be able to fire that ball off to the outside, get a first down.
Linfield will get the football to start the second half, trying to get some more points to close out the first half. But in and out of the hands, again, it's Cousins. This time he couldn't hang on.
And you got to hang on to that. You got to help out your quarterback. You can't have these kind of drops, especially in a situation where you've got less than a minute and you're trying to move the ball downfield to try to get anything out of this drive. Just get points on the board.
Linfield with 2 timeouts, 54 seconds on the clock. A couple of Tommies get back. Pressure coming, rolling right, Knecht. He connects, this time hanging on is Cousins, and he gets out of bounds at the 45.
Yeah, so far on this drive, 3 targets all to Cousins, doing a nice job, but the offensive line as well, because the blitzes are coming. Every single play, we're seeing 6, sometimes even 7 players coming at Knecht back there. He has just so much poise as he's standing in the pocket. It's incredible.
Pass caught. Clock will keep running unless a timeout is used. Jordan Young brings down Kennedy Johnson.
Well, the clock stops as they're moving these yard markers down. They place the ball, and here we are, 42 seconds.
Knecht hit as he throws, and out of bounds again. It's Cousins.
nothing big, but saved himself a timeout there and was able to get the ball out to a receiver, gain a couple of yards, and put themselves. Look at all the purple jerseys, though. Again, Harrell, they're all coming after him. Ryan Winter.
See the blood on his right elbow. Tom Connect has been hit and hit again.
Every play he's getting hit.
And yet he plays on using that right arm. A lot of contact, and there comes the penalty marker. Selahowski is the guilty party. He looks to his teammate and tries to explain, but Bennett Selahowski will be called for the penalty.
Pass interference, number 21, defense, the 15-yard penalty, first down.
And Doug, I tell you, I feel like there's at least a couple other occasions where we've seen hands draped on receivers, but this one they're getting him for interference as well. 15-yard penalty, and you can see right there's contact. He's got his arm draped around him. There is no argument that that's a penalty there.
For sure. 24 seconds remaining in the half. Connect. Throws it up into double coverage, and it's intercepted by Jordan Young. And here he goes. His 4th interception of the year, and the Tommies defense bends but does not break.
Yeah, they were bending and bending and bending, and that time Tom Connect just chucked that ball up in the air, and he was hoping for a jump ball, but Jordan Young, we were talking about some of the size and heights and some of the rest of that, but that ball's not even a concern about any kind of height. That ball was just poorly thrown that time by Tom Connect, and a great job by Jordan Young just coming down with the interception. First of all, you secure it, and then you see what you can do with it. He was trying to bring that thing back.
He was. He set, or rather tied, an all-time record earlier this year with a 100-yard interception return. Gets a few yards there, and so it looks like the Tommies are going to be happy to head into the locker room with a 23-3 lead. Well, a big first quarter for the Tommies. The Wildcats, the defense has really played well since that first quarter, but the offense still has not gotten it going.
Yeah, they finally started moving the ball. They started moving the chains. They started getting a few first downs. They only got 3 points on the board. They needed to get 7, but they've got to have some comfort in the fact that they're starting to move the football, and that's what they've needed to do. The Linfield offense has got to move the football. They got to get the ball in the end zone.
30 minutes in the books. Coming up at halftime, talking Iowa football, a Stag Bowl flashback, and also stats and highlights from this one. The winner moves on to the Stag Bowl. Our halftime score, 23-3, the Tommies over the Wildcats. Stay tuned for the halftime report. We will share the story of Iowa's Brett Greenwood right after these messages.
This is where it began for Brett Greenwood.
Picked off by Greenwood. The safeties come through again.
In Iowa's Kinnick Stadium tunnel, in the darkness, and then into the light.
Solid, man. Sure. Keep those hips square.
And this is where Greenwood is now, in a daily fist fight against fate.
Doing awesome. 30 seconds. Strong with the right.
That determination. That's just him. That's just built in him.
His mental makeup, his determination, his strong will. It's extraordinary.
All the way down to it, then all the way up. Last one.
Good job.
Good, really good.
2, 1.
Good.
Greenwood was born in Iowa, played high school ball in Iowa, and was passed over for a scholarship by every major program, including Iowa. So what did the underdog do? He walked on at Iowa.
He had that look like, I'm going to show you guys how stupid you are. You don't realize I'm a really good football player, and he did shortly thereafter.
To the end zone, juggled and intercepted.
As a senior team captain in 2010, Greenwood led the Big Ten in interceptions. And in 2011, he was among the last cuts made by the Pittsburgh Steelers. A week later, on September 9th, while working out at his high school field in Bettendorf, the 23-year-old Greenwood collapsed and was rushed to the hospital.
The ambulance got there, and the back doors just burst open, and two of the paramedics were working on Brett. The first two times they put the defibrillator on, nothing happened.
One of the EMTs yelled out and said, "This is not your day, Brett. We worked too hard." And the third one, they got a pulse. The EMT just turned and just hugged me. You know, he was in tears.
Can you tell me about the day that you heard of his collapse?
Yeah, there are things you remember your whole life, and that's certainly one of them.
A heart arrhythmia had triggered the collapse.
He had suffered a very severe brain injury. One of the suggestions was you might consider just taking him home and removing the feeding tube and let nature take its course.
And I can remember one of the head doctors, I held his hand saying, "I don't want to let my son go." When he came out of his coma, it was like, I compare it to like a newborn baby, relearning everything, learning how to swallow, learning how to eat, learn how to walk.
Then this past summer, after 4 years and more than 6,000 hours of rehab, Iowa asked Greenwood to lead the Hawkeyes out of that tunnel again.
He's the epitome of a man. He's the epitome of an American. They say never walk. And tomorrow he's going to lead you guys on the field.
You always say, Brett, you're strong. I used to be. Brett, you're tough. I used to be. Brett, you're a badass. I used to be. This time, he got to actually see how badass he was.
Coming out of the tunnel, I really thought he was going to try to take off running.
Please join the Iowa Hawkeyes in welcoming back to historic Kinnick Stadium.
The fans, to hear the crowd behind him, it just brought such joy to him to know that they were behind him.
You talk about will and determination. Special ball for you, Brett.
They're still praying for you. They're still rooting for you to get better.
The winner of this football game advances on to the Stag Bowl this coming Friday night. Right now, St. Thomas with the big lead, 23-3 over Linfield. Now, a couple of years ago, Mount Union and Wisconsin Whitewater met again. Their 8th meeting in 2013. Matt Barrett threw for 4 touchdowns, leading Wisconsin Whitewater to a 52-14 win and their 4th championship in 5 years.
And what an incredible program they've got there at Whitewater as well. I mean, they just continue to just put up teams. Today, unfortunately, fell down a little bit, but this is a team that offensively and defensively has been outstanding for years.
Mount Union had a chance of redemption last year as they met the Warhawks in the Stag Bowl again, but Barrett threw 4 touchdowns. Second year in a row, Wisconsin Whitewater 43-34 a winner, but the tables were turned earlier this afternoon, meeting for a rare opportunity to go to the Stag Bowl.
Yeah.
And so it'll be Mount Union. On Friday, you can see the football game at 7 o'clock on ESPN for the Division III National Championship, and they await the winner of this football game here today.
It's just impressive to me the fact that Mary Hardin-Baylor, Whitewater, Mount Union, Linfield, St. Thomas, these schools are always in the hunt. It's incredible, isn't it?
They've got a lot of talent on both sides of the football, and it's no surprise. And as we've talked about, Pete, when you've got the number of Division I and Division II transfers on the field, you're going to have good football teams.
No doubt about it.
Pretty good formula.
Yep.
All right, we'll take a break and come back with more of our halftime report here in St. Paul, Minnesota. The Tommies over the Wildcats 23-3 for a spot in the national championship game. 23-3, the score. University of St. Thomas leading Linfield in this national semifinal between two undefeated teams. Lots going on around the country at the FCS and Division II level. The Richmond Spiders go on the road and beat Illinois State in a quarterfinal of the FCS. Northern Iowa loses to North Dakota State. Hey, how about Jacksonville, Alabama? #1 Jacksonville State winning again. You had them last weekend, and they put on another good show here today.
They certainly did, and look at those points. And this is a team that knows a lot about offense, but they've got a running back there named Trumaine Pope. Keep an eye and keep that name in somewhere in your brain, because that kid had 250 yards today. Someday he'll be playing on Sundays. They really have talent. Eli Jenkins at quarterback is absolutely outstanding as well, but I'm not sure who can take them down, quite honestly, but maybe it's North Dakota State, maybe it's Richmond, but Jacksonville State on offense and defense is incredible.
And I had Colgate last week in their second-round game. They went to Harrisonburg, Virginia, and upset James Madison, but they couldn't do it again. They go to Texas and lose to Sam Houston State 48-21. Then at the Division II level, Grand Valley State falls by 2 to Shepherd, and you see at halftime, Northwest Missouri State with the lead 24-6 over West Georgia. We'll come back with the second half. The winner of this football game goes on to the Amos Alonzo Stag Bowl next Friday night for a shot at the national title. You're watching the NCAA Championships presented by Northwestern Mutual. Here in St. Paul, Minnesota at the half. St. Thomas 23, Linfield 3. And with Pete and Jerry and I'm Doug Sherman, glad you could be with us here today. And we got a chance to see the Tommies start this football game very fast, led by that ground game.
Yeah, and they ran the ball so effectively, over 200 yards. Now, this Linfield defense normally gives up 217 total yards in a game. So that first half was absolutely in domination by the St. Thomas offensive line in that running game.
Meanwhile, the offense for Linfield never really could get going. Their quarterback took quite a beating.
Boy, Tom Knecht, this guy, I'll tell you what, hats off to him for what he was able to do in the first half with the kind of pressure he was getting. And that defense, Chudzinski really wanted to bring the heat. He has brought the heat. They are getting after him. 6, 7 players at a time coming after him. He's having no time back there. Every once in a while he's able to connect, but unfortunately the fumble, the interception, that's on the quarterback, but the offensive line has got to help out their quarterback.
And Pete, what I noticed in that was that the highlight started with a clean white shirt.
Yeah.
By the end of the half, his whole right elbow and arm all bloody.
Oh yeah, he's getting bloody, he's getting bruised out there, but he came back, he had a couple of nice drives. I think their offense at least can hang their hat on the fact that they were able to finally start moving the ball on this Tommy's defense. They've got to get him out of the pocket, move that ball downfield. They're starting off with this kickoff. They've got to come away with some points on this first drive.
Only 11 rushing yards for the Wildcats, but as you mentioned, they will get the football first here to begin the third quarter. Both of these teams came in averaging over 50 points per game. Did you see at all this coming, where Linfield would only have a field goal at this point?
Well, no, but, you know, when you become one-dimensional, which is exactly what this has come down to, they're throwing the football almost every single snap. So, you know, you're going to create too many possibilities for an interception and a fumble, and the pressure, obviously that defense can just put their ears back and go after the quarterback.
Well, some big coverage. Trace Adams was the first one down there to cover that kick. Kennedy Johnson really had nowhere to go in the second half. Begins much like we saw in the first half. Jesse Addo also down there. It was a 13-yard return. And so the Wildcats presumably will bring Tom Knecht back out. Again, the Division III West Region Player of the Year. Sam Riddle did not play in the first half, but he is in the football game now. So let's see what the 6'2 junior from Hillsboro, Oregon, who's missed the last couple of games with an ankle injury, can do to try and rally the Wildcats. On first down, he hands it off. Big gain for Spencer Payne out to the 30-yard line. There's a good look at Sam Riddle. As you see, over 60% of his passes have been completed. Third in school history with the 81 career touchdowns. His running back picks up 12 yards on first down. Riddle really is a remarkable story. He is already married with a child and a second on the way. Talk about all the talent on the field. His first pass completed, but Spencer Payne had nowhere to go. Isaac Searing on the tackle, but Riddle is another one of these guys who had the opportunity to play Division I football, but for his own reasons, he winds up changing course and playing Division III football.
The level at which some of these players play at is absolutely Division I level, so there's no question in my mind that many of these players have transferred for a variety of reasons, but Sam Riddle's had an outstanding season, although that looked like that might have got picked.
Sure looks like it. Indeed it is, an interception. Bennett Selahowski.
Wow, what a great play on the ball by Selahowski. As a matter of fact, that's the gentleman who did get the penalty earlier, the 15-yard penalty, that moved the ball into position for Linfield to put some points on the board. That time making up for that call, and a great interception. Great play on the ball.
And if you're Sam Riddle, do you come into this football game with the score what it is, thinking I've got to make something happen and maybe try to fit it in when he shouldn't have?
Yeah, probably. You're going to try to squeeze and you're going to try to press, and that's exactly what we see happening there. And that ball probably shouldn't have been thrown, but don't give too much away. That was a great play on the ball. Great drive that time by Selahowski to be able to put himself into position. But is that coming back? That ball looks like it might have been resting on the turf.
Yeah, the officials are taking a look. We've had two plays already overturned, both of them in the favor of the Tommies. And let's see if this one is overturned in favor of the Wildcats.
It's all about angles, and are they able to see the right angle to make sure? This is the best angle of them all. Does this ball touch the turf? Is it secure? I'm going to say no.
Now, if he has control, can it touch the turf?
First of all, I'm not sure that he even has control, but second of all, I'm going to say that they're going to reverse this thing. It looks to me like that ball's on the turf, and as much as Caruso was standing right there in front of the refs and jumping up and down, in my opinion, that ball looks like it's not going to be an interception. But nonetheless, what a great play on the ball, just driving to put yourself into a spot to even get your hands on the ball. Great job that time by Bennett Selahowski.
Now, should the receiver, Brian Balsiger, have come back to that football more? Should he have done something more or different or better?
There are times when your receiver needs to help out your quarterback. So, yes, I would say you've got to attack the football. You've got to act like a defender at times, always coming back to the football. And it's one of the criticisms in these wide receiver coaches. They'll yell it all throughout practices, but you know, you've got to be effective during the games and come and attack the ball, and especially under the circumstances. Tom Knecht struggling a little bit, although I would have kept Tom Knecht, quite frankly, in the game unless he's hurt. But they wanted to switch things up, and obviously Joseph Smith, the head coach and offensive coordinator, he's up here in the booth as well, and he's taking a look at things and wanted something to change up and looking for Sam Riddle to be that change up to maybe make something happen.
Now, this Linfield program moved up from NAIA to NCAA Division III 13 years ago. Last year made it to the national semifinals as they have this year, but lost to the eventual champion last year, Wisconsin Whitewater.
The pass was incomplete. It hit the ground. It'll be third down for Linfield. The clock will start on the snap.
So our third overturn call. This time it goes in favor of Linfield.
And every once in a while you got to get a break, and that one wasn't necessarily, that was a break, but that was the right call. That ball looked like it hit the turf. It did hit the turf, and Sam Riddle's definitely breathing a sigh of relief after that pass, and that ball was wobbling out of his hands that time. So we're going to have to keep an eye on, is he able to step in and throw the football effectively on that ankle?
It's the right ankle that he injured against Cortland back on November 28th. At the time in that game against the Red Dragons, he was 17 for 19 passing for 172 yards and a couple of touchdowns. His numbers, as with so many people in this game, are just staggering.
Yeah, they are. And his touchdown to interception ratio is also just as staggering, with 29 touchdowns and just 5 interceptions. So it speaks to just how accurate he is as a quarterback back there. And also, you always got to give credit to your offensive line. That offensive line is under extreme pressure, and St. Thomas is taking advantage of that as much as they can. Whether it's Riddle or Connect, they're coming after him, and they're going to bring the heat. So there's going to be 6 players in his face on this play.
But the thing with Riddle, he's a dual-threat quarterback, but really probably not here with that ankle. He has rushed for over 500 yards and 13 touchdowns in addition to the passing.
Absolutely.
A little more one-dimensional here, at least we assume so, playing on that ankle that has been compromised and has kept him sidelined the last couple of weeks. On 3rd and 10, having to get away from the pressure. Addo had him in his grasp, and the pass is incomplete.
So he's back in the pocket here, and he wants to be in that pocket, but starts to shift to the outside, just trying to buy a little bit of extra time. But there is nobody open. I mean, there is absolutely nobody. There's nowhere to put that football. He did the right thing, just threw it out of bounds, punt the ball. St. Thomas could potentially get very, very good field position after this punt.
Kevin McLean standing at his own 15-yard line. Nick Waldvogel ready to receive from his own 32. The snap is low, handled well, and the punt is up and away. Bounces backwards at around the 40, where it is down. Skylar Elgarico able to get to the football first. A 30-yard punt, no return, and while it was not necessarily a thing of beauty, it certainly is better than an interception in your own territory.
Right, and that ball, when you look at that snap, actually back to the punter on that particular occasion, that thing rolled back to him, and a little bit of a panic, but he was able to get that ball off. And I think they're breathing another sigh of relief that time, but not only not having the interception, but after that snap, putting St. Thomas back on the 40-yard line.
Fullback is Dominic Truocolo out of St. Ignatius High School in San Francisco. The tailback, not surprisingly, gets the football. Jordan Roberts, the junior from Sheridan, Wyoming. He's been a little nicked up here today, but still productive.
Oh, he has been productive. There's no doubt about that. You can just see how hard he runs, but that's the play where we started to notice the shoulder, the elbow starting to bother him. A little bit later in the second quarter here, you can see where that ankle started bothering him as well. So he's out on the field. He's running the football. He's a tough young man. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But both he and Kaiser playing banged up, coming into this game playing banged up.
He surrendered his Division I scholarship at the University of South Dakota, where he played the last couple of years, to transfer to St. Thomas. Takes the handoff across the 45-yard line. His momentum takes him out near midfield.
And that's that second effort and driving with his legs and not giving up on the play. He was stopped well before he actually finished that play. He finished that play off and put themselves into a great position. 3rd and 2 now. Look for him to run right between the guards once again.
In his 2 years playing Division I football, he scored 3 touchdowns. This year, he has already scored 30, including 1 here today. Third and 2. It's Roberts, and he's got another first down.
And that time they went to the strength. They moved the tight end over. They went to the double tight end side, pulled that left guard, Richie Donovan, to open up that play on that trap. A nice big hole. And again, Jordan Roberts, he's either going to find the hole or he's going to make a hole, but he's going to get a first down. He got the first down the other side of the 50-yard line.
And he's got 122 yards on the ground on 22 carries. That's very near his per-game average this season. John Gould, the 5'9" senior quarterback from Mendota Heights, Minnesota, gives again to Roberts, and he's tripped up at about the 46-yard line.
Now Linfield's got to get some of that magic back where they actually force St. Thomas into some 4th down situations, and the defense has got to come up big. Maybe it's a turnover. This is a defense that turned the ball over, 16 interceptions, 17 fumbles. They know how to get those turnovers. They also, because they play aggressive, they know how to get to the quarterback. But right now, as long as Jordan Roberts is running the football, they're just going to be grinding and pressing that ball downfield.
Yeah, the passing attack for UST. John Gould only 2 of 7 for a total of 39 yards passing in that first half.
Linfield,
timeout called by the defense. And so they've been getting it done on the ground, so why would you have to veer from that?
Right? Why not stick with what's working? You've got Jordan Roberts, you've got Jack Kaiser, you got Nick Waldvogel as well, who occasionally can play running back. He played running back in high school, and not a big kid, 5'9", 177, but he runs big, he runs strong. St. Thomas Academy kid, as you mentioned, where he and Gould played together in high school.
And again, had the nice write-up in this morning's local newspaper here in St. Paul, Minnesota, in the Pioneer Press. And for Waldvogel, he's a junior, but Gould, he's a senior. The last time he's going to play on this field. Hopes it's not his last game. Of course, the Stag Bowl on Friday night for the national championship, if the Tommies can get there. 2nd down and 8. Gould rolls right. And he finds his buddy. Short gain, maybe a pickup of 2 out of bounds at the 45.
Yeah, Kennedy Johnson on that play. The cornerback coming up and making that hit on Waldvogel, but he's still down on the turf.
How about the offensive numbers for James Killian's unit? Coming into this game, they had scored 697 points. So now 720 points as we take another look. Yeah, made the tackle. Kennedy Johnson is the one who winds up injured. Now we see him back on his feet and walking off under his own power. But this team has got 99 touchdowns through 13 and a half games. That, not surprisingly, is a program record, second only to Mount Union in all of NCAA. Not just Division III, but all of NCAA, and it is Mount Union awaiting the winner of this one on Friday.
And this isn't a team that's running up scores. There are teams out there, we all know about that, but when you watch this team, you look into the first quarter and the second quarter, those starters are all out. And that's part of where they get all that experience from as well, because as they get these big leads, they still run the same offense, but it's with second and third and fourth teamers who are scoring points as well.
3rd and 6. Gould. Pass is complete. Waldvogel has himself a first down.
Well, and he's the favorite target. Not only did they play together in high school, but why wouldn't you want to throw it to this young man? He's got 60 catches coming into today and does an outstanding job. And when you're a smaller guy, 5'9", you're coming across the middle, that says a lot about who you are as a football player. You're tough, and you're willing to come back across the middle to make that catch from your favorite man. That's John Gould.
Well, there's a guy named Julian Edelman who's not all that big, who's made a pretty good career for himself in that slot. Wes Welker before him, both of them, of course, with the New England Patriots. Roberts tackled from behind by Zach Gray. Great penetration by the sophomore from Olympia, Washington.
Yeah, those two big fellas up in the middle there. Zach Gray, about 275 pounds, does a great job of defeating the player in front of him. He beats the big guard that time, Zach Brennan, to the play. Great job. They need more of that. They've got to start forcing things, whether it's turnovers. If it's not turnovers, they've at least got to put them into a 4th down situation.
2nd down and 10.
I can't get over when we look over at David Simmet, number 75, in that huddle. I mean, he is just massive. Wow.
6'9".
350.
Gould's pass complete. Waldvogel able to get around the first tackler, get out of bounds after a nice pickup.
And Waldvogel, because of the fact that he's so athletic, look at the way he actually is able to sprint down that sideline, get that extra 5 yards. But again, look at Simmet right there, 75. I mean, that says it all. That's a big human being. Hill Murray High School, Stillwater, Minnesota.
And one of 4 finalists for the Gallardi Trophy as the Division III Football Player / Citizen of the Year. Not just about what he's doing on the field, but what he does off the field, in the community, in the classroom, and one of 4 finalists for that very impressive national award. Roberts dropped near the first down. Looks like he might be about a half yard short, depending on the spot.
Yeah, he has most of his success when he's just running straight ahead and he's making little moves here and there, but between those 2 big guards, he does an outstanding job of following those and looking for those extra holes. You know that David Simmet, you talked about off the field as well. How about the fact that He's got a 3.96 GPA. Got 2 A- as a freshman. It's the only reason it's not a perfect score.
That is something. It really is. 4th and 1, 10th play of the drive, and there will be an 11th.
He got hit that time, though. Woo. You could hear that up here, and you can see, look at him kind of holding on to that right shoulder. He's going to probably come off the field because he got absolutely walloped on this play. Right there. He's feeling it.
Eli Biandine, senior from Mililani, Hawaii, with the big hit, and he nailed him right on that shoulder.
They got a couple of Hawaii guys on this football team. They do a great job of going out there and recruiting these guys. And Eli is 6'1", 230 pounds, so he can bring it.
Waldvogel still on his feet, runs into his own teammate, still on his feet. Down to the 13.
Well, a couple of plays ago, we were talking about him teetering on that sideline and just kind of tiptoeing and figuring out a way to get an extra 5 or 6 yards, but he is absolutely relentless. We said he could play in there at running back. There he is at running back, and not down yet. Not down yet. Not down yet. Twisting, turning.
And he just tried it again. He ran in on that last play we saw a couple of times. He ran into David Simmet twice. That's how big he is. He couldn't get around his own man.
Oh, that's great.
That's 5'9", trying to get around 6'9".
Yeah, when you're a foot taller, that's that really is something.
And weight-wise, he is quite literally twice as heavy as Waldvogel. 350 to 177.
You know, and he's got good feet. This is a guy who he's karate, basketball. You look at what he did, you know, in his previous life of high school. It's incredible.
Roberts back in and back into the end zone for a Tommy's touchdown.
Well, and he's had the most success when they've attacked that left side of the offensive line with Jordan Roberts running the football right behind Richie Donovan, right behind Will Hilbert. 6'5", 292. 6 foot 302. Look at that hole. No chance, and he's got enough speed once he gets through there to burst through. Great job by Jordan Roberts once again. He's beat up and he's playing beat up, but this guy's an animal.
The point after is good. 10-yard run, 13 plays, 60 yards. Jordan Roberts makes our score 30-3. A time-consuming touchdown drive here at O'Shaughnessy Stadium. And St. Thomas, if they weren't before, are now thoroughly in control. 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. Time of possession, all Tommies, 27 minutes and 1 second. For Linfield, only 11:31.
And that domination comes from running the football. And obviously, you saw the numbers right there from Jordan Roberts. That's exactly what they've been doing. A steady diet of that man running to the left side of the offensive line, behind an offensive line that's absolutely destroying that Linfield defense right now and creating huge holes, huge gaps for Roberts to find 5, 6, 7 yards of carry.
Graupner with another kickoff, and it'll go into the end zone and out the back for a touchback. Now, he is one of the seniors still around from that 2012 Stag Bowl team. There's Sam Riddle coming out for his second drive. And as mentioned, he is married to Brianna, and they have a son, Mason, who is now 2.5 years old. He shows up to every home game out in Oregon wearing the number 10. He's become the unofficial mascot for this team.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it is rare to find that to occur, especially in the Midwest. But on the West Coast, you see a little bit more of that. BYU, you see guys that have families and all of that kind of thing. When I was in college at the University of Minnesota, we actually had one married player. It's always unusual, but it says something about who they are, and they're far more stable. They're not out there having a good time like the rest of us.
Fumble is picked up, and it's Tommy's football. Tim McClanahan with the recovery.
Yeah, Coach Smith has got to be frustrated about this one, and I think that's Spencer Payne. Yes, it is. Carrying the football. The offensive line did a nice job that time, but he slips, and as he slips, that ball pops out. Nobody popped it out, but you can see it right here. He's looking. He sees this big gap that he wants to find, but he never has great control of the football. It bounces right into the hands of Tim McClanahan. It's a great middle linebacker from Cretin-Durham Hall, right here just outside in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah, that's the high school that's produced such talent as Paul Molitor, the Baseball Hall of Famer, Steve Walsh, the great college quarterback, Joe Mauer, the catcher for the Minnesota Twins. And by the way, Joe's older brother, Jake, actually played baseball here and wound up winning a 2001 Division III National Championship. He now works for the Twins. He's a minor league manager. So that high school is one of the signature high schools here in the Twin Cities.
They might have got the ball right back.
They sure look like they might have. The Wildcats think they have it, and indeed they do.
That's Zach Great. We talked about him earlier, making a great play on a swim move, and this time you can see right there Gould getting hit. And off of that hit, Great just jumps on top of the football. Nice job of pursuit.
Yeah, Roberts could not keep Marcus McGovern from getting to the quarterback. He had a sack and a fumble recovery last week in the quarterfinal win. And the sophomore from Eugene, Oregon comes up with a big play here. And so back onto the field is the quarterback Sam Riddle for now his third drive of this third quarter. They keep it on the ground the first time.
And you wonder, that time it was Jordan Roberts that was beat on that play by McGovern, and you wonder if that elbow's bothering him, the shoulder's bothering him, how well is he going to be able to pass protect in a situation like that? Gould just got right past him, was able to hit Gould and pop that ball free.
Now that last tackle was made by Anthony King Foreman for the Tommies. First time we've called his name here today.
He's got a good lineage, that kid.
Yeah, he sure does. The name sounds familiar. It's because Anthony King Foreman is the son of former Vikings running back Chuck Foreman, who we understand is in attendance here today. First down, keeping it on the ground for Spencer Payne. Moses Aquinabe, senior from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, making the hit.
And they're coming off this right side this time, and great blocking just to at least give him a chance. And he got that chance. Spencer Payne turned on the accelerator, was able to get downfield. And they've got to figure out ways to move these chains, and right now they've had a little bit of success running the football.
In the air, pass complete. Cousins out of bounds inside the 40-yard line, down to the 36.
When you run the football and get a few yards here and there, it helps out the passing game. And you can see this time, Sam Riddle takes a shot. There's no doubt about it that time by Ryan Winter, but effective downfield and able to get another first down.
22-yard pass play, first down at the 37. Going for it all. Adjusting on the pass beautifully to make the catch is Cousins. Myself and the defensive back, Aquinabe, thought that was headed more toward the end zone, but it seemed to just die in midair.
Yeah, I think that ball, he intended that thing, but you can see, do you see how he just couldn't get, the arm is fine, it's his feet, and he cannot step into the football to be able to throw the football where you expected it to be, where everybody expected it to be. Nice job by the receiver adjusting back to make that catch.
And a second 22-yard pass play, now into the end zone.
Oof.
The intended receiver, Eric Douglas, couldn't get there.
And I'll tell you what, Sam's going to be kicking himself about this one because Eric Douglas does a great job of getting completely free, but you can see once again after he throws, he's frustrated, but he's also got to be frustrated because he can't step forward to be able to get anything underneath that football, and he was able to miss that receiver that time because he just couldn't step on that right ankle.
Riddle started the first 9 games of the year at quarterback. He's the Division III West Region Player of the Year. Pass caught. Short gain down near the 10. Eric Douglas hauled it in that time.
Well, you notice that multiple times now we're seeing very, very quick snap. Let's get rid of the football. And that's Joseph Smith up there, the head coach who's sitting up here in the press box. He's making sure that that ball's getting out, and it's getting out in a hurry.
Looks like Riddle may be changing the play. Rolling right, under pressure, setting up the screen, and it's intercepted. threw it right into the arms of the defensive player.
And that's going to be frustrating because the play was checked off. That time Sam Riddle changed the play at the line of scrimmage. He started to sprint off to the right-hand side and throws the ball right into the defender's hands.
Jack Newell, the interception. Tommies get it back. St. Thomas 30, Linfield to 3. And defensive linemen don't get very many opportunities to intercept passes, but when you're Jack Newell, it doesn't get much easier than this.
No, and you can see where Sam Riddle is sprinting to the right-hand side. You're throwing it across your body, you're throwing it across the field, and you cannot hang that ball in the air. But if you can't step on your right ankle, that makes it almost impossible to make any kind of a pass to the backside to the tight end on a screen. He throws a very, very simple interception.
So now if you are St. Thomas, if you can put together a long time-sustaining drive again here, you may be able to just about put this thing away. And they go right to their moneymaker, Jordan Roberts. Still going down to the 40-yard line.
You know, the defense trying to make something happen. They're trying to strip the ball out of his hands as he's running downfield. He gets an extra 10 or 15 yards because they're going for that strip. But this is, again, it's exactly what we've been talking about. Straight up the field, right between the guards, right up the center of the field. Nice little trap play. Great blocking, great execution once again. And you can see, look at that. He hit 5, 10, about 10, 11, 12 yards maybe after that first contact as the defenders are trying to strip that ball out of Jordan Roberts' hands.
And it went for 39 total. First down and 10 in Wildcats territory.
There's Waldvogel.
Kaiser tiptoes his way for maybe a yard. Biandine makes the tackle. There's Roberts catching his breath after that long 39-yard run. Well, he was 161 yards shy of the single season program record coming in, and he's got to be pretty close to that. Actually, on that run, he got there. So there he has passed the father of his teammate, Tucker Treadle, freshman running back. His father was an All-American. Gary had the record until that long run right there.
You can see when you're averaging 6 yards a carry, that's not so bad for your career. This is a guy who had over 1,000 yards when he was in South Dakota as a Coyote.
Short gain again as the defense does not allow Waldvogel to get anywhere.
Tell you, the guy who quietly has had a great game on the defensive side for Linfield. There's not a lot of them, unfortunately. They're just giving too many yards running the football. But Marcus McGovern's done a nice job. Big number 46 on the outside, just pursuing. He's gotten after the quarterback a couple of times. He's gotten after John Gould, but done a really, really nice job of doing what he can from his defensive end spot. The problem is the center. They're coming after the two big fellas and those two linebackers in the middle.
St. Thomas on third down. Now 7 out of 13 after that pass fell incomplete. And on fourth and long.
Quarterback's out there.
Quarterback's out there.
Although every once in a while he'll punt the ball as well. He'll do one of these quick kicks, and if there's nobody back there, which there is nobody back there right now, there's a strong possibility he does a quick kick here.
Yeah, he's got 9 of them already this year, averaging 42.7 yards per punt. Not bad.
That's not so bad.
Now, again, a lot of that is because there's no one back to receive it. It can roll as far as you want it to go.
Well, now one of the safeties did drop back, and he quick kicked it.
He kicked it over the safety's head, and how about that?
What a punt.
My goodness, deadened it perfectly, and there to cover it, Jack Gilliland. All St. Thomas Tommies here in St. Paul, Minnesota. The guy swaying there in the background is Kyle Chandler. He's a junior linebacker for Linfield. He was chosen by Coach Smith to wear his best friend's old uniform, number 35, and it starts a tradition to honor and remember Parker Moore, who would have been a senior linebacker this year, but he was stabbed to death 13 months ago in a random act of violence. And his framed jersey goes everywhere with this team. They included in all team photographs, and the memory of Parker Moore will continue on this year, embodied by his best friend Kyle Chandler, but going forward, the number 35 will always have a special meaning for this Wildcats program.
Yeah, it says a lot about the program and Joseph Smith. I spoke to the athletic director yesterday as well in Linfield, and what a proud group these guys really are of what they've been able to accomplish on and off the field, and they deserve all the credit in the world for what they're doing right now and representing for number 35.
Pass completed to Balsinger, and he fights his way for extra yardage out across the 20-yard line.
And St. Thomas trying to strip that ball out as well because they're aggressive. We know how aggressive they are on defense. But as they're doing that, there's an extra 4 or 5 yards as well, and Linfield gets a little bit of breathing room.
Selahowski and Searing both on the hit, trying to strip that football away. Final 45 seconds of this third quarter. On first down, Sam Riddle throws left sideline, incomplete.
He got popped by Steve Harrell on that one. I mean, it doesn't matter which quarterback's in there right now. The defense, they're bringing the heat. You're bringing linebackers from the outside. And Steve Harrell, again, that must be his 4th or 5th just absolute kill shot on a quarterback. You dream of these when you're a linebacker, and boy, his dreams are becoming reality today. I mean, he is absolutely getting after it. Tom Connect, Sam Riddle. Keep an eye on where Steve Harrell is.
You were a linebacker for many, many years at the University of Minnesota as the pass is caught.
Yep.
Back to make the catch. Zach Cousins for a first down. But you played in the NFL. As we take another look at the nice catch by Cousins. Is it going to stand? Indeed it will. They don't wait for the chain gang to get in place. Let's snap that football.
They snapped that one quick, man. They didn't want to take any chance on that ball, saying that ball hit the turf.
But during your college days, Pete, as the officials say, well, what are they saying there? Was the play
they set
premature?
The ball.
Once the ball's set, can't they go?
Yeah, they set the ball, but the chain gang, I think, was just a little bit late.
But what quarterback did you get the best, cleanest hit on, either in college or in the NFL, that you can remember?
Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman.
And by far my best hit. And it was actually back when he was at Oklahoma, and the hit actually caused him to transfer from Oklahoma to UCLA. And I think I always asked him ever since. I said, hey, man, you owe me a little money because running the option at Oklahoma, there's no way you're playing in the NFL.
You knocked him about 1,500 miles to the west. 3 quarters in the books. And from the start, it has been all St. Thomas Tommies.
I'm going back to my roots another day.
Linfield's offense came into this national semifinal averaging over 50 points per game. The defense for the Tommies was averaging only 9 points given up per game, and I guess we know who has been true to form so far here today.
Yeah, we wondered what would break, what would change what's been going on in the previous 12 or 13 games, and certainly when you look at the running game of St. Thomas, it's been impressive. They've been absolutely ripping up that Linfield defense, but you cannot turn the ball over 5 times and expect to be too close in a football game, and that's why we're sitting at 30-3.
Time of possession, all UST, over 29 minutes compared to 15 for Sam Riddle and the boys from Oregon. He is chased out of bounds by Ryan Winter.
You know, I'm starting to wonder if that experiment, and by the way, there's Steve Harrell, he's keeping warm out there because the temperatures drop, but he's been hot all day getting after these quarterbacks. Take a look at him right there. Again, right there. Oh, hit his own guy, but their pursuit of Sam Riddle, absolutely incredible. And at what point does the coach decide that ankle, because you can see him limping right there, how much are you going to have to make that decision? When do you make the decision to put Tom Connect back in the football game?
6'2" junior from Hillsboro, Oregon, takes the snap on 4th down. Throws it up, and it's caught for a first down by Balsinger. Big gamble taken, but they had to do it. Linfield comes up with what could be their biggest play of the game.
And at this point, they've got to do something like this. And right when I'm talking about when do you decide to make that move, well, that's a beautiful pass that time by Sam Riddle, and he's able to get the ball out to Brian Balsinger. But they're going to get a little bit more heat after this guy, and so he's going to be under pressure.
Tight spiral down the sideline, this time incomplete.
That's a beautiful wheel route that time by Spencer Payne, the running back, coming out of the backfield and sprinting downfield. And he's got a little bit of room, has an opportunity for the ball. Again, Sam Riddle putting the ball at least somewhere close for the opportunity for the receiver Spencer Payne to be able to come down with that ball.
Yeah, he had separated a little bit from the all-conference long jumper, linebacker Adam Kraft, who was in coverage. 2nd down and 10 from the Tommies 49-yard line. Showing blitz again. Riddle hands off. Big hole for Spencer Payne. Woo! Big gainer on 2nd down to the 37-yard line.
Isaac Searing this time is not very happy about what happened here, because Spencer Payne, look at that head of steam, and runs right over the top of him. Wow. That was a hit. That was a beautiful job that time by Spencer Payne, just putting down that right shoulder, 210 pounds, and putting a little hurting on him.
Picking up 12 yards the hard way. We've got a penalty marker down in pass coverage. The intended receiver was Eric Douglas III.
Sure looks like they're talking about a holding call there.
Holding, number 22, the defense. On an eligible receiver. It's a 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Penalty against Jordan Young, the senior transfer from Elmhurst College, who actually played his freshman year as a wide receiver, and his last game for Elmhurst was against the Tommies. He had a 10-yard reception against the school that he then transferred to. But he is a tremendous cornerback out of St. Louis Park High School here in the Twin Cities. Riddle hit again, puts it on the money though. Eric Douglas hauls it in for a touchdown.
And they're frustrated, but you know what's changed on that drive, starting on that 4th down play, was they're not getting to the quarterback. They've been getting so much pressure, been knocking these quarterbacks around. And Sam Riddle is actually getting a little bit of time and places the ball right where he needs to, and Eric Douglas comes down with the ball. Eric Douglas III.
And that caps a 96-yard touchdown drive. Linfield's first touchdown of the ball game. And after the 27-yard pass play for a touchdown, the PAT is good by Michael Metter. Well, it took to the 4th quarter, but the Wildcats finally find the end zone, still down 20. The 27-yard touchdown pass from Riddle to Douglas has Linfield within 20 in this national semifinal for the right to play in Friday's Stag Bowl. ESPN's NCAA championship coverage continues Friday with the Division II championship on ESPN2. That game is at 4 o'clock Eastern. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. With Pete Najarian, I'm Doug Sherman. So glad you could be with us here at O'Shaughnessy Stadium, getting a chance to see two of the big programs in Division III football going head-to-head. So far, it's been all St. Thomas, but the Wildcats put together an impressive 96-yard drive to keep that door at least open.
And that key play on 4th down.
St. Thomas, that is their first of the half. Will be a 30-second timeout.
They were lined up expecting a potential onside kick there, and now they're sort of rethinking things, or at least they want to have a discussion with the players before they get back out there.
Well, this is a matchup of two of the remaining unbeatens in the country. Mount Union already won today to make it to the Stag Bowl, so they are 14-0. Clemson 13-0. These two both unbeaten. And Amherst down at the bottom, they are going to be 8-0 because they don't get to go on and play in the NCAA tournament. So their season is done at a perfect 8-0.
You know, the game I did last week with Jacksonville State, their one blemish was a game that went to overtime against Auburn at Auburn. So not a bad season for Jacksonville State so far.
Not at all. Well, let's see if indeed the onside kick. Kamen Conley, junior from Honolulu, is the kickoff man for the Wildcats. And he boots it away. Taken by Austin Lorch.
Oh, wow, that was beautiful.
And he had nowhere to run. Well, now if this Linfield defense can go out there and make a stop, get the football back, this would be a good call.
Yeah, and Kennedy Johnson, what an outstanding coverage play here. Just sprinting downfield. He's the F1, as we used to call it. And he came sprinting downfield and beat the coverage and was able to get in there. And what a great job inside the 20.
Just an 11-yard return after the big hit. And so the Toms take over once again. Under center, John Gould. Roberts. Always into the second level.
You know, and why go away from that? If I'm Glenn Caruso right now and I'm looking and I'm saying, all right, these guys are back in this thing a little bit. They're like you said, a puncher's chance. It's 30-10, but why not try to grind out a drive and just see what they can do? Show us you can stop Jordan Roberts. That's what you got to do, and just pound it right up the middle. You can see him milking that clock as well. They're taking all the time in the world off that clock.
Yeah, he is the most prolific touchdown maker in all of college football. Any level, any division. Number 23 in purple has reached the end zone twice here today, and here he comes again. And again to the second level, having to be tackled by Mitchell Keekle, linebacker for Linfield.
Yeah, and Keekle gets there a little bit late, and he's using his arms, and you're not going to bring this guy down. I mean, and if you are, it's going to take a while, but you can see that gap right there. Tight ends downfield leading some of that. Richie Donovan, big number 62, leading him as well. Nice block by the fullback there as well. But look at him just driving those legs, keeps moving and pound it right at him. That's what they're doing, although he had to come off the field, giving him a little break. He's been playing bruised and battered.
And for the young man who is considering a vocation in the priesthood, he's now got 204 yards on the ground. Kaiser in there. He takes the handoff and picks up a couple.
Yeah, he's pursuing that, but boy, he runs aggressive and angry, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And I'll tell you what, among the great crowd that we have here today are the seminary students who he goes to school with, and they are the most vocal part of the student section that's down in front of us here. They're the ones who have the hard hats. They come to work and have a good time here.
Yeah, that's great. These guys have had a lot of fun. They have a lot to cheer about.
There they are.
They're a fun-loving group. That's Jack Kaiser in there again.
And again, if not for a shoestring tackle by Zach Great, that would have been a big gainer.
Yeah, he's another one who's really just done an outstanding job when the opportunities have been there. But unfortunately, they're coming right at Zach Great and Ty Farber in the middle, and they've had a lot of success running the football. Now Kaiser comes out, back in Jordan Roberts.
A big third down here for the Linfield defense. They are desperate to get the football back with 10 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock.
That ball better go to that guy right there.
I'll be stunned if it doesn't. Roberts is stopped. The Wildcats stop him on third down, but that doesn't mean they're getting the football back just yet.
No, definitely does not. And Zach Great, again, we're saying, he's been playing so well, and the interesting thing is they're going on the right-hand side where they've had a little less success than the left, but going behind the big fellas over there, you can see big David Simmons up there. And sure enough, but are they going to punt it out of here? Is this a quick punt, or are they actually going for it?
After a loss of 2, it's 4th down and 4. It is the quarterback who earlier had a perfect quick kick. John Gould awaits the snap. And now we've got a delay of game.
Delay of game. Number 17 at the offense. 5 yards. Still 4th down.
Yeah, I don't think that was the intention of what they were going to do is get that time clock to expire, because I could tell by the reaction from the coach that he's not very happy about that.
So now you expect 100% they're going to punt it away. Even though Gould's back out there, the quarterback is back out there.
Well, he's got a great leg, we know that.
Right. There is nobody back deep, so let's see what they do.
Although he's kind of sneaking to get back there.
And he does indeed punt it. Fielded with a chance to return it. Still on his feet. Kennedy Johnson with a 16-yard return. So Linfield keeps that door ajar with 9:30 to play. Well, that is the aforementioned Chuck Foreman, the 5-time NFL Pro Bowler with the Minnesota Vikings. He is here to watch his son play football.
He is supportive. You know, last week he had to drive all night long to be able to get here from South Dakota, where he was at a meeting, just to see his son play. But that's what you do as a father, right? And Chuck Foreman's a great dad. He really is. His other son already retired from the NFL after playing linebacker there for about 7 years.
Well, this son is Anthony King Foreman out of Eden Prairie, Minnesota, number 42 in purple. His defense trying to slow down Linfield, which is coming off a 96-yard touchdown drive. And right here, Pete, they have their best starting field position of the day.
Yeah, and they look like they've got a little extra confidence, a little swagger, and Spencer Payne again putting a little pain on Isaac Searing, the safety in the backfield there.
Not the first time we've seen that. 2nd and 4. Riddle over the middle, complete. Balsiger inside the 25.
So we're finally starting to see these big wide receivers get a little bit of the football, but I think the reason we're seeing that is, look at him not getting hit that time. Sam Riddle in the pocket and able to look downfield and had enough time to be able to find Brian Balsiger.
Well, when you average over 50 points per game, and you can score it like that, you are never out of the football game. But Cousins dropped an easy one.
We were talking about how Sam Riddle's had a hard time stepping into it. Well, he didn't have a hard time this time. He's got a little bit more pressure on him. They're bringing blitzes. He gets hit, puts the ball right where it needs to be. My goodness, wow. Got to get it again.
And Riddle thought for sure that was 6 points, as did everybody else here at O'Shaughnessy Stadium. So they'll go again now on 2nd down. High snap handled by Riddle, and perhaps that threw him off just enough. Right on cue, Anthony King Foreman with the sack.
Used a little of his dad's athleticism and speed from the outside that time. He was a linebacker, and for those who don't know, Eden Prairie High School, that's a dominant high school here in Minnesota, coached by, as a matter of fact, Bud Grant's son is the head football coach down there at Eden Prairie High School. But get a chance to see Anthony King Foreman bringing it from the outside.
He now has 7.5 sacks on the year. And that brings up 3rd down and 17 after the loss of 7. Riddle to the air again. This time it's held on to by Cousins. He gets out of bounds at around the 20. That'll bring up a more manageable attempt for a 1st down.
Yeah. Want to look at those feet. Look like that first foot that gets down, that left foot, the ball's in place, so that they want to look. Maybe they want to look at it.
Well, as it stands right now, 10 catches for 124 yards
under further review
for Zach Cousins. But if they don't score here and score quickly, it'll be the one he dropped that people will remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's made so many critical catches when they've needed him as well, so it's unfortunate, but I'm going to say that one's a catch. I'm going to say that stands. I think he's got full control right there, and that left foot is down.
Yep, because he's lifting that football up to make sure the defender couldn't get there. I think he absolutely had control of the football with that foot in bounds.
I think we've been pretty good on this today.
So far, 3 for 3, I think. Let's see if the officials agree with us. What are we at Fenway Park? Sweet Caroline breaking out here.
Hey, that is the most popular fourth quarter song. I tell you what, last week at Jacksonville State, it was a great game. We went into overtime. It was 35-35, and they had this cranking. That crowd was jacked up. It's great.
Folks in purple are having a good time here in St. Paul, Minnesota. There are our friends from the seminary.
The ruling on the field is confirmed, a completed catch. 4th down.
So indeed, it is now 10 catches for Cousins for those 124 yards.
Yeah, he has come up big. He really has. He's been there for his quarterbacks, but he will be kicking himself a little bit for that previous pass from Sam Riddle in the end zone there, where he had it. That ball was placed just right. And he probably just got a little too nonchalant on it.
And here they come on 4th down and 6. Sam Riddle, their junior quarterback out of Century High School in Oregon, needs this conversion. Cousins goes in motion. And they're having a communication problem. Timeout called, Linfield.
Timeout.
Well, you could see as soon as Cousins went in motion, he stopped at the quarterback, and he and Riddle had a discussion, said, we don't know what we're doing.
No time for that.
NCAA Division III Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. That's inside the beautiful new Student Center that is adjacent to where we stand here at O'Shaughnessy Stadium in St. Paul, Minnesota. Sweet Caroline again playing during that last break in the action.
They can't get enough of it. What a beautiful campus. I know you had a chance to walk around on this campus and take a look, but absolutely spectacular, isn't it?
It sure is.
Beautiful.
It sure is. Here not far from the Mississippi River in St. Paul. 4th down, 6 yards to go for Sam Riddle and the Wildcats. Cousins again in motion. Riddle rolls left, throws that way. Cousins able to make the catch, and he's got a 1st down.
And Riddle just got absolutely walloped that time by Steve Harrell, number 28. Again, this guy has been on these quarterbacks all day long. It doesn't show up in the stats sheets, all these hits on the quarterback, but because they're not sacks, not tackles for a loss, but they feel every one of those hits. But a great job by Sam Riddle stepping in and getting the ball out to the outside to Cousins.
First and 10 from the 12. Clock running under 7 minutes. Riddle flips it over the middle, and a touchdown for Spencer Payne.
Oh, they are sneaking right back in this thing, aren't they?
They are. It's a 14-point ball game.
Great looking play here. A little bit of a Tim Tebow, right? I mean, Sam Heddle, he steps up for a moment and then fires that ball to Spencer Payne in the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, after a 96-yard scoring drive that took 11 plays, Linfield does it again, caps it with a 12-yard pass from Riddle to Payne. This one was a 7-play, 52-yard drive, and after having only 3 points through the first half, this prolific Wildcats offense is cranking it up, but is it going to be too late? The point after is good, so the score is 30-17.
They needed that timeout. They had to get that 1st down on 4th down, and they were able to convert it.
Offside. Number 7, the defense. A penalty is declined. The try is good.
So there you have it, 30-17. The Wildcats with consecutive touchdowns. And with Sam Riddle in, the offense has looked better. It's been able to move the football.
They've been able to find a little something. You know, Tom Connect actually started moving the ball up and down the field as well in the first half, but he had some problems getting that ball into the end zone, obviously. And then you suddenly get Sam Riddle in here, and on a very, very critical 4th down, there it is to Cousins to the outside, and just enough to get that 1st down. And like I say, a little bit of a Tebow. He starts to step up like as if it's going to be a quarterback draw, then pulls up and is able to find his great receiver, Spencer Payne.
Well, Wildcats head coach Joseph Smith told us earlier in the week about the intangibles of his quarterback, Sam Riddle. And you know, you can't necessarily quantify that on the stat sheet.
Right.
You don't know how your teammates react around you, and this is to take nothing away from Tom Knecht, but some guys have a certain intangible quality that translates onto the football field.
Yeah, they're leaders. They're absolute leaders, and certainly they look to Sam Riddle, and they know he's playing hurt. They know that he didn't start the game because he's playing hurt, but he came back in, setting up for this onside kick.
Secured perfectly by McClanahan. He's the young man out of Cretin-Derham Hall who has played so many games on this field. He's playing his final quarter ever, and he may have just secured things for the Tommies.
Yeah, gets to play one more game. They come out of this one, but almost too easy. You know, that high school, also Michael Floyd's from that high school, the wide receiver. You could go through a list. There's about a half a dozen or maybe even a dozen names that NFL, Major League Baseball, you name it, from Cretin-Derham Hall. Just an incredible program.
Eden Prairie is another one around here that has produced its share of big-time athletes and players who have come here to this school and done very well.
Absolutely.
Including Anthony King Formino, by the way. On the ground, tripped up after maybe a gain of 3 or 4 is Jordan Roberts.
They've got to make something happen here. Obviously, you got to go for turnovers. You've got to attack, and you know where the ball's likely going to go, but maybe you don't. Glenn Caruso is a risk taker, so if he sees too many guys starting to stack up in the box, I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw the ball, even though he wants to work that clock. It's just the kind of coach he is. Very aggressive, doesn't like to punt, the least amount of punts in all of college football, so this is a very aggressive head coach.
So on big number 97, Drew Johnson, a freshman, come in for the Wildcats. Roberts sizing up the defenders. Kyle Belcher maybe had a shot at him, but didn't know what angle to take, and it just was another long run for Roberts.
And again, one of the signatures of Jordan Roberts is he's a big stiff arm kind of guy, and you can see right there a little bit of a push. That's the same arm that's been bothering him. It's where he's been hurt. We've seen him multiple times throughout this game where he's been sort of dragging on that right side. It's that right elbow, right shoulder, whatever it is, but it's been bothering him. But he used it that time to be able to get Kyle Belcher to the outside. And what a game and what a time to get this kind of a game coming from Jordan Roberts.
29-yard pickup gives him a new single-game career high, 234 yards on 32 carries. This is Kaiser. Down to the 10-yard line, brought to the turf by El Garrico.
Never hurts to have these kind of running backs, right? You got Kaiser, then you know what? We got Roberts. We'll go back and forth every once in a while. Waldvogel will come in and carry the ball as well.
Number 86 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
So that run will come back because the holding call against Matt Christensen, sophomore tight end.
They've got tight ends. They've got so much depth on this St. Thomas football team. It's absolutely unbelievable the number of tight ends that they've got that play and play a lot because he likes 2 and 3 tight end sets. That's Glenn Caruso I'm talking about, but Roberts back in the game as well and going to add to some of those yards he's already put up.
Well, this program has been around since 1904. Going for its 593rd win. That's in the top 20 all-time in the history of Division III football. Oh, Roberts picks his way through the defense and in for his 3rd touchdown of the day. 22 yards to the house, and the Tommies may have just put this one to bed.
You know, there's what can you say about the way this kid runs the football? The offensive line done an outstanding job, but that was really much more on Jordan Roberts. He planted hard on that left foot, shifted over to the right-hand side, back and forth, and found his way into the end zone. We get another replay of that. I'll tell you what, the offensive line downfield, 5, 10, 15 yards downfield, absolutely just getting after the defense again. Very aggressive, but that's why they're so successful. They are blocking, doing a great job.
Timeout called by St. Thomas.
St. Thomas, that's their 2nd charge of the half.
The numbers just keep piling up. 256
We have
yards
30-second timeout.
on 33 carries. That was a 22-yard touchdown, his third trip to the end zone here today.
Not so bad.
So again, the most prolific touchdown maker in college football now has 32 in 14 games this year.
Yeah, it's not so bad, right? There's so many wonderful things when you watch this kid play, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well, but running the football, just the intensity in which he runs angry. That was a huge hole. Again, huge hole. But there are times where he does it where it's him as well. And look at, he's got enough speed downfield. He continues to drag these defenders as they're trying to strip the ball. Back forth. Great blocking up front. Tough kid.
Off the timeout, they're going for two. It's Kaiser, and he is in. So after having missed the two-point try earlier, they get those 2 points back to make it a 3-touchdown lead.
Well, when you've got Kaiser and Robertson, you're averaging a little something over 6 yards a carry. Why not go for that 2-point conversion? Why not?
38-10 for a spot in the Stag Bowl. The Tommies are getting ready to go to Virginia. Those are the students from the St. Thomas St. John Vianney Seminary who've been up and making noise all day and all night. Their team on top 38-17. And, well, those Tommies would love to go to the Stag Bowl on Friday and break it up a little bit. Mount Union has already punched its ticket, is waiting the winner here. And, you know, the last team not either Mount Union or Wisconsin Whitewater to win the Division III National Championship were these Linfield Wildcats. But the Tommies would love to break that streak that we've seen for the last decade.
Yeah, absolutely. What a domination, though. And if you add about 2 more schools to that, it seems like these 4 or 5 schools are always in that final game.
Payne on the return. And so with 4 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the fourth quarter after the 12-yard return, the Wildcats, who have done much better here in the fourth quarter, will try to put together another drive. And who knows? But down 21, it does not look good.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, but they've done a nice job of regrouping and still attacking. And Sam Riddle's going to have to make some magic here, though. They find themselves pretty deep in their own territory and not a lot of time. 4:50 on the clock.
And I'll tell you what, there is a 2.5-year-old named Mason Riddle out in Oregon watching this. Very proud of his father right now at quarterback, playing through that ankle injury, hoping his dad can pull something out here once again.
Well, Zach Cousins has had an absolutely spectacular day, and he's been incredible at times. I mean, when you look at the number of catches, the number of yards, and that time, unfortunately, Sam's looking downfield trying to find him, but he just couldn't get him the ball.
Second and 10, Riddle setting up the screen to Payne. Going to be tackled at the 25-yard line. The ball came loose.
That was definitely out.
The Tommies think they have it as they get through the pile. Looks like the Wildcats will keep it.
I think it was Keelan Grace gets on top of that football. Thaddeus Cox maybe got on top of that one.
Senior from Rockland, California. 3rd down and 2. Riddle under pressure gets it to Payne at the 20. Got a long way to go to get to the marker. He's not going to do it. A swarming defense for the Tommies. It's a loss of 5 on the play.
Yeah, you're trying to make something happen. You know you're well behind the line of scrimmage. Spencer Payne making that catch, but there was nowhere for him to go. And Sam Riddle again hit, and again kind of staggering around out there. But he didn't start the game for a reason. It was that right ankle.
Well, the Wildcats converted a big 4th down on the last scoring drive, and before this 4th down, they call a timeout.
Linfield, that's the 3rd and final of the half.
So far today on 4th down,
32nd timeout.
Linfield is 3 for 4 as Riddle and his offensive teammates limp back over toward the sideline.
Yeah.
There you see the 2015 All-Region team for Division III. And Sam Riddle was the West Region Player of the Year on offense. And you see Alex Hoff as well on that list. And they have had tremendous seasons regardless of the outcome here today.
Both well deserved to be on that list. When you look at what Sam Riddle did during the season with 29 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. And Hoff, I mean, there he is right there. We've been talking about him a lot today and what the potential is. This might not be his last football game playing. This guy could be playing on Sundays.
Riddle takes another big hit, gets it away, and off the hands of Cousins. And they will turn it over on downs as Riddle gets up with the assistance of his teammates after another big shot.
Yeah, and there's actually a shot for this thing. I mean, you know, Cousins almost able to come down with that. If he does, he's going off and he's in the end zone. But Sam Riddle, again, just absolutely got clobbered on that play. And that defense has been coming after whatever quarterback's out there, whether it's Tom Connect or Sam Riddle. They've been getting hit. They know they're in a huge street fight with that defense, and they have been relentless getting after the quarterback.
But you know what? As he was walking off the field, limping off the field, Riddle went to the 2 senior leaders of the defense coming on, Alex Hoff and Keanu Yamamoto, and he was yelling at them, telling them to stop him and get the football back. Easier said than done when that young man's got the ball in his hands. Jordan Roberts. No, check that. It's Tucker Treadle. First time the freshman has gotten the football, so perhaps Roberts' day is done. Treadle, who, by the way, his father surrendered the all-time single-season rushing record to Jordan Roberts here earlier today.
Got a player down out there.
Well, they treat the injured player. One game still in progress. Bottom right-hand corner in the Division II NCAA tournament. Northwest Missouri State up by 15 over West Georgia. How about the depth at running back for St. Thomas? We've talked all about Jordan Roberts, of course, and Jack Kaiser has a couple of touchdowns here today and has had a marvelous 4-year career with the Tommies. But what about Tucker Treadle? He has gained over 500 yards as a freshman, 7 touchdowns, averages nearly 6 yards per carry, a legacy in the Tommies backfield, gone for as much as 110 yards on just 9 carries back on November 9th. The future is very bright for this unit.
They just keep reloading. It's amazing when you look what this program has been able to accomplish with Glenn Caruso as the head football coach, and he revitalized everything about this program because they literally 2-8 the year before, and they were talking about, the coaches were talking about this in the pregame. They said, you know, first day we all sat down with the players and questioned the players on, hey, what are your goals? And the kids, their goals were not high enough goals. And they wanted to change that mindset almost immediately. And they did. And they flipped this thing around. I mean, 3 of the last 5 years they've been in the semifinals. It says a lot about the mindset now. It's not just about winning the MIAC. It's going to the MIAC, winning that whole thing, and then going into the playoffs and trying to get to where they look like they're going to be next Friday night.
The injured player who was helped off the field is the guard Richie Donovan, senior from Blaine, Minnesota. And let's hope he is okay for Friday's game down in Virginia for the national title. The backup fullback, Jeremy Molina, gets the carry. First time we've seen the ball handed off to a fullback. He has a nice push to get inside the 10 for another first down.
And that's where they get so much experience for so many different players. Dominic Truacolo, the other fullback from St. Ignatius in San Francisco, believe it or not. I mean, it's amazing the reach in which they were able to get out there and recruit and grab players from all over the country that want to come and play at the University of St. Thomas. it's because they've developed this tradition that they've got here now of winning. And everybody gets an opportunity. The coach, when you look on that sidelines, there's 100+ players suited up in multiple numbers of number 2 and number 4 and number 8. It's just incredible.
Yep, your starting fullback is from San Francisco. Your starting tailback is from Wyoming. Your one of your star wide receivers is from Southern California, from Simi Valley. So you're getting them from all over the place.
Tight ends from Illinois at Loyola Academy.
Yep.
So.
But that young man from not too far away, Tucker Treadle, with his second carry for a gain of 1.
Yeah, he's up there by me in Lina Lakes, Minnesota. It's beautiful up there.
And we don't want to shortchange the fact that the vast majority of the roster is Minnesotans.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the bread and butter, and here in the Twin Cities for sure. But like you say, the reach is really something for a Division III program to be able to go across the country like they do and get talented players. That's Treadle once again. Ty Farber, junior from Wasilla, Alaska, made the tackle. Younger brother of Trey Farber, first-year defensive line coach for the Wildcats. He stopped Treadle after a gain of 2.
And this is what St. Thomas does, by the way. They're doing the right thing. They're working that clock. They've just been standing in the huddle here. They got 1:08 left, 14 seconds. They'll get a playoff.
And I'll be curious if number 99, who just made that tackle for Linfield, Ty Farber, is able to seek out his former middle school teammate Jordan Roberts after the game. Yes, they were teammates in Wyoming. Before the family moved to Alaska, he lived in Wyoming, and Ty Farber was a teammate in Gillette, Wyoming, of Jordan Roberts.
Now that's a good one.
There's big number 99 down from Wasilla, Alaska. But again, he lived in Wyoming, and there's his old middle school buddy. But only one can enjoy this one. Down under 30 seconds remaining. It'll be the Tommies who prevail, and it was the Tommies who were in control right from the start. Treadle stood up, still fighting right to the last second. Both sides are. Helmet comes off by Drew Johnson. 3-yard pickup. Need a stepladder for that hug.
Well, Caruso's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's hugging maybe the biggest guy in the world. He's definitely the biggest guy in the field.
David Simmons, 6'9", 350 pounds, as we've talked about. One of 4 finalists for the Gallardi Trophy. Enveloped.
That's a big man. He's a captain. He's an academic All-American. I mean, that fucking myth sucks, man.
He just kissed him on the cheek, I think.
Sure did.
Good way to finish the day. Well, pretty impressive for the Tommies and pretty impressive for the folks here in St. Paul, Minnesota. Most of them still here. A capacity crowd enjoys this final game played here on campus. The Tommies will go on to the Stag Bowl.
Yeah, what a great game. They came out, like you said, they came out, they controlled the game. They controlled the game by running the football behind Jordan Roberts, the big offensive line, and that's really what sealed the deal, and it made it so difficult. The defense, the penetration, the attacking defense that they had on whatever quarterback was out there, just overwhelming Linfield today.
And there's your championship matchup. Both teams with relatively easy wins in the national semifinals. Once again, our final score, the University of St. Thomas 38, Linfield College 17. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as all other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.